Chapter 749. Ning Qing nodded honestly, "That's right, I saved you. Your body forging had fallen into an unconscious state, and your essence spirit had also dissipated. If I hadn't helped you, you might have died." Ning Qing didn't want to claim credit for himself. Rather, he feared that this woman would use him as an excuse to offend her. It wasn't like he hadn't seen such a thing happen before. He had also saved Nalan Rushue in the past. But in the end, not only did this woman not know how to be grateful, but she also almost asked her master to kill him. "Thank you, my name is Yan Xishuang." After the woman finished speaking, she unexpectedly stood up. Ning Qing initially thought that he would be long-winded, but he didn't expect this female cultivator named Yan Xishuang to not care about it at all. Not only that, but even if he was here, she would still dare to stand up without any clothes on her body. Yan Xishuang didn't care about Ning Qing's surprised gaze. Instead, she used a few dirt removal techniques on herself in front of Ning Qing, and a set of clothes appeared in her hands. Even if it didn't matter to him, Ning Qing couldn't just watch a woman put on clothes in front of him. He still hadn't let go of his thoughts and could only smile awkwardly. "I'll go first." However, Ning Qing still had some doubts in his heart. He clearly didn't see anything on this female cultivator, yet this female cultivator could take out something. The only possibility was that this female cultivator, like him, had a space-type weapon that could be stored in her sea of consciousness. "Wait a minute, I don't know your name yet." The female cultivator didn't take long to put on her clothes. After saying this, she had already started tying her skirt. "My name is Ning Qing, goodbye." After Ning Qing finished speaking, he quickened his pace. He didn't like women like Nalan Rushue who would flip out without understanding the situation. Similarly, he didn't like talking to such a seemingly casual woman. Yan Xishuang had already put on her clothes and spoke with a calm voice, "You've already seen me, so what's the harm in looking at me again? Do I have to get angry at you and avoid your clothes? Is it because of this that you think I'm not a casual woman?" Ning Qing looked at Yan Xishuang in surprise. At this time, she wore a light blue dress, which made her look even more refined and full of spiritual energy. In just a short time, her sparse yellow hair turned dense and black, and even her eyelashes became clear. He was shocked by this woman's subtle observation. She could guess what he was thinking from his attitude. He could also read Yan Xishuang's thoughts from her eyes, which could only be described in one word: hypocrisy. Ning Qing once again gave an awkward smile. He found that he really was a bit hypocritical. Fortunately, Yan Xishuang didn't continue talking about it. Instead, she looked at Ning Qing and asked, "Did you take away that Nirvana Bluestone?" "Nirvana Bluestone?" Ning Qing quickly understood Yan Xishuang's meaning. The bluestone that he took away was called the Heaven-Burning Bluestone. This name sounded really powerful. "Yes, it was indeed me who took it," Ning Qing directly admitted. He had rescued Yan Xishuang, but this place wasn't too far from the volcanic island. With a sweep of his spiritual consciousness, he could see that the volcanic island had disappeared. Yan Xishuang didn't find it strange. She just took out 2 stone stools, sat down on one, and motioned for Ning Qing to sit down. Ning Qing sat down calmly. After Yan Xishuang's essence spirit stabilized, Ning Qing could clearly see her cultivation. She was a late-stage eternal powerhouse. Even if she was a late-stage eternal powerhouse, Ning Qing wouldn't feel afraid. Ning Qing didn't know what the Nirvana Bluestone was, but he knew that it definitely wasn't an ordinary thing. Since it wasn't an ordinary thing, he wouldn't hand it over casually. Saving Yan Xishuang's life was to make up for it. He didn't owe anyone anything, so he could take it with a peace of mind. Even if he didn't take it now, he could still take it away after Yan Xishuang fell. Yan Xishuang's eyes flashed with a complicated look, and she hesitated for a while before speaking. "I went to that place for the Nirvana Bluestone. In fact, if I hadn't refined that bluestone for many years, you wouldn't have been able to seal it and take it away." Ning Cheng only knew that the flames from the Nirvana bluestone were extremely powerful. But he didn't know that this bluestone had been refined for many years. It showed that Yan Xishuang not only refined her body but also refined the bluestone. Seeing Ning Cheng remain silent, Yan Xishuang spoke up again, "I'll give you a high-rank starry sky spirit vein and 10 million permanent essence pills for your bluestone. What do you think?" After hearing Yan Xishuang's offer, Ning Cheng only had one thought in his mind. That is, this woman really was rich. With so many things, he might even advance to the middle-level life and death realm. At this moment, Ning Cheng felt a little tempted. But he quickly understood that since the other party took out so many good things for the Nirvana bluestone, it meant that the value of the Nirvana bluestone was much higher than he had imagined. "I'm sorry, but I have a flame that needs this stone to help me advance. I also like this stone a lot, but I can't choose to exchange it with you," Ning Cheng said with an apologetic tone. From Yan Xishuang's words, he understood that Yan Xishuang played a part in him obtaining this bluestone so easily. Seeing Ning Cheng not willing to exchange, Yan Xishuang felt helpless and said, "Then can you lend me this stone for a while? I promise to return it to you." Ning Cheng smiled. This woman really was naive. They didn't know each other at all. Besides, he was her life-saving benefactor. Yet, this woman didn't even think about how to repay her life-saving benefactor. Instead, she wanted to borrow his things. This time, Ning Cheng refused without hesitation. He didn't even bother to say any polite words and directly said no. "If that's the case, then forget it." Yan Xishuang stood up. After walking a few meters, Yan Xishuang stopped again. "I have an important place to go. In this place, we might get a lot of wealth, or even countless treasures. I'm willing to take you there now. But because I found this place, I want 70% of the things inside." Ning Cheng showed a faint smile. "I don't want to take advantage of you. You can go there yourself and take 100%. Goodbye." After saying that, Ning Cheng's figure flashed and instantly rushed out of the island before disappearing without a trace. Although this woman thanked him for saving her life, she didn't take out anything substantial. If she didn't have anything good, then forget it. But this woman obviously wasn't someone who didn't have anything good. Now that she wanted to join forces with him to go to a place with treasures, it definitely wasn't because he saved her. Most likely, she needed his help. She needed the help of her life-saving benefactor, yet only gave him 30% of the things. It would be strange if Ning Cheng showed any interest. Besides, he also needed to go to a place, the location of the Starry Sky positional ball given to him by Lei Junfeng. That place was in the Devouring Bone Sea, and it was labeled as Treasure 1. With the word treasure in it, it might be the place where the treasures were hidden. He didn't even have the time to look for treasures, so why would he join forces with others to ask for 30% of the things? Yan Xishuang on seeing Ning Cheng leave so quickly sighed and muttered to herself, "Without the Nirvana bluestone, I don't believe I can't get in." Although the Devouring Bone Sea was vast, it was only for ordinary cultivators. For cultivators like Ning Cheng, who didn't face any danger in the Devouring Bone Sea, the Devouring Bone Sea was nothing to him. Under the guidance of the Starry Sky positional ball, Ning Cheng didn't take any detours. On the way to the location of Treasure 1, Ning Cheng encountered a few sea mists. Ordinary cultivators would choose to bypass the sea mists when they saw them. Ning Cheng naturally wouldn't bypass them. Since it was a place with treasures, it naturally wouldn't be easy to find. If it were so easy to find, they wouldn't have waited for him to find it. Even if Ning Cheng had a middle-stage Starry Sky body and had the Starry Sky positional map, Ning Cheng's speed slowed down after continuously entering the sea mists. 2 days later, Ning Cheng stopped. According to the Starry Sky positional map, he had already arrived at the location of Treasure 1. But to Ning Cheng's surprise, Treasure 1's location was just a sea that looked different from the surroundings. The reason why it looked different from the surroundings was because the seawater in this area was dark gray in color. This dark gray seawater was completely different from the dark blue seawater on the periphery. Moreover, the dark gray seawater and the dark blue seawater were clearly separated, as if they were cut by a knife. But this wasn't the most shocking thing to Ningcheng. What shocked him the most was that this dark gray seawater was nearly a foot lower than the dark blue seawater outside. Despite the wind and waves of the seawater outside, the dark gray seawater remained calm. Not a single drop of seawater from the outside could penetrate the dark gray seawater. This dark gray seawater not only couldn't penetrate it with his spiritual consciousness, but it also gave him a dangerous feeling. Was this the treasure one? What good things could there be in this place? Ningcheng hesitated for a moment before taking out a boat he refined and throwing it into the dark gray seawater. He wanted to go over and have a look. But just in case, he decided to stand on the boat first. However, after the boat landed on the dark gray seawater, it slowly sank. Ningcheng couldn't believe what he saw. The boat should have been floating on the water, but now it was slowly sinking. Moreover, it was sinking steadily, without any signs of overturning. It completely violated some common sense. At this moment, Ningcheng couldn't help but think of a sentence from Journey to the West: 800 miles of quicksand realm, 3,000 miles of water, goose feathers float, reed flowers sink to the bottom. Thinking of this, Ningcheng found a feather and threw it into the dark gray seawater. Reality proved that this sentence was indeed true. That light feather slowly sank down without the slightest hesitation. "You actually followed me?" A slightly dissatisfied voice arrived. Ningcheng didn't need to look back to know that it was Yan Xishuang. Although Yan Xishuang hadn't spoken, Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness had already detected her. "Fairy Yan, I think I should be the one saying that, right?" Ningcheng turned back and spoke with a calm voice. Yan Xishuang paused for a moment, and her face turned a little red. That's right, it was obviously Ningcheng who had arrived here first. How could it be Ningcheng who had followed her? "Ah, I'm sorry." Yan Xishuang quickly understood what was going on. "You also know about the 3,000 weak water rivers in the devouring Bone Sea. Is this really called the 3,000 weak water rivers?" Ningcheng asked in disbelief with his mouth wide open. He then asked again, "Is there another name for it called Quicksand River?" Quicksand River. Yan Xishuang frowned. She had never heard of this name before. Chapter 750. No, I've never heard of that name. Can I ask you how you know about the 3,000 weak water river? Yan Xishuang added. Ningcheng chuckled. "I didn't know that this was the 3,000 weak water river. I obtained a starry sky positional ball, which contained the location of this place. It's just that this water looks a little strange. Do you have any way to get in?" Yan Xishuang replied calmly, "I naturally have a way. Well, since you're here, let's cooperate. How about we split the things in this place equally?" Ningcheng shook his head and spoke, "I don't need to cooperate with anyone. Everyone does their own thing, and what they get is what they get." Saying that, Ningcheng tried to enter the weak water river. He felt that this woman, Yan Xishuang, wasn't very sincere and always spoke with reservations. "Wait." Yan Xishuang quickly stopped Ningcheng. Ningcheng looked at Yan Xishuang in doubt. "You can also go in. Since everyone has come here, it's naturally up to your own abilities." Yan Xishuang shook her head. "Ningcheng, if you continue like this, even if you have a full circle eternal realm cultivation and a late-stage starry sky body, the 3,000 weak water will turn you into nothingness." Hearing Yan Xishuang's words, Ningcheng quickly stopped his movements and stood on his flight-type weapon again. At the same time, he asked, "Why? Haven't you heard of the 3,000 weak water?" Yan Xishuang asked. Ningcheng shook his head. He had never heard of the 3,000 weak waters. Most of his knowledge was pieced together from different places. The biggest harvest was the fundamentals of crafting artifact crafting that Zhongli Baiqi had given him. If not for that fundamentals of crafting artifact crafting, Ning Cheng would not have known about many more things. However, that book didn't have any records of the Nirvana Bluestone or the 3,000 week water. On Earth, Ning Cheng had heard of the 3,000 week water, but he was self-aware, and was very clear that the 3,000 week water that he had heard about on Earth and this should not be the same thing. Then you must have never heard of the innate 10 waters. Yan Xishuang said. Ning Cheng once again shook his head, cupped his fists and spoke, I still need to consult Fairy Yan. Cultivating until now, Ning Cheng was very clear about where his weaknesses lay. He didn't have a master, so there were many things he didn't understand. For things that he did not understand, Ning Cheng would immediately ask. If the other party was unwilling to speak, then so be it. If he was willing to speak, then he would understand a little more. Yan Xishuang didn't hide it, I've only heard of 5 of them, and I don't know about the rest. The first type of water is said to be impossible to obtain. It's called the 5 elements divine water. Ning Cheng was surprised in his heart. 5 elements spirit water, wasn't that the water he wanted to refine into the spirit transformation sphere? This water was the water that condensed in the world of creation the moment it was formed. Apart from the treasure of fortune and the living soil, who else could possess this kind of water? Right, the book that Zhongli Baiqi gave him contained information about the 5 elements spirit water, so why didn't it mention the 3,000 week water? As Ning Cheng thought of this, he immediately used his spiritual consciousness to communicate with his book. Then, he was surprised to find that the last page of the book was missing. That was the page that recorded how to make the soul transformation spear. Yan Xishuang didn't know that Ning Cheng had so many thoughts running through his mind in such a short time. She still spoke up, I don't know about the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th ones. The 5th one is the seeking heart water. Ning Cheng sighed, he had never heard of this kind of water before. The 6th is the 3,000 week water. Yan Xishuang finished speaking and looked at Ning Cheng, now you should know how amazing the origin of this water is, right? Ning Cheng nodded in agreement. Thinking about the heaven-defying nature of the 5 elements spirit water, he understood that this 3,000 week water wasn't simple. How could it be ranked alongside the 5 elements spirit water in the innate 10 waters? What about the other 4 types of water? Ning Cheng asked again. Yan Xishuang continued, the 7th one is called the indefinite black water. I don't know about the 8th and 9th ones, but the 10th one is called the single essence heavy water. Single essence heavy water. Ning Cheng repeated the words in amazement. Yan Xishuang asked in doubt, have you seen this water before? Ning Cheng spoke the truth, yes, I've seen it before. I've seen a drop of single essence heavy water, and I also know that this water is very heavy. A drop of single essence heavy water is equivalent to the weight of a small planet. It's a supreme material for crafting artifacts. This also made Ning Cheng speechless. His book only contained the 5 elements spirit water, which ranked first, and the single essence heavy water, which ranked last. When she heard Ning Cheng say that he had seen a drop of single essence heavy water, Yan Xishuang couldn't help but feel a little moved. But when she heard Ning Cheng say that he had only seen a drop of it, she immediately returned to normal and said, a drop of single essence heavy water is nothing. As you said, it has no other use besides for crafting artifacts. If you had this much single essence heavy water, maybe you could dominate the entire starry sky. After saying that, Yan Xishuang pointed to the 3,000 weak water rivers in front of her. Ning Cheng spoke up speechlessly, a drop of single essence heavy water is equivalent to a planet, and this river is equivalent to a river, he. After Ning Cheng chuckled, he didn't continue. Yan Xishuang understood Ning Cheng's meaning and spoke up calmly, do you think that it's the weight of many drops of single essence heavy water added up? That's right. Ning Cheng looked at Yan Xishuang in doubt. If it was calculated according to 1 drop, how many drops were there in this 3,000 weak water rivers? Each drop was equivalent to a planet, and how many planets were there in this place? The total weight of these drops couldn't even be measured with data. You're wrong. Yan Shishuang replied with a calm voice, "It's countless times heavier than you think. It's not just a matter of 1 plus 1. As for the reason, I don't know." After a pause, she continued, "That's not what we're talking about. In this positional plane starry sky, there shouldn't be so much single essence heavy water. Since there shouldn't be so much single essence heavy water, why is there so much 3000 weak water? If I remember correctly, you just said that 3000 weak water ranks 6th among the 10 innate waters." Ning Qing immediately spoke up. Yan Shishuang showed a faint smile, "You're wrong again. If this place was filled with 3000 weak water, then the devouring bone star wouldn't have survived, and we wouldn't have been able to come here. Besides, there's only 1 drop of 3000 weak water here." 1 drop. Such a big drop. As if knowing what Ning Cheng was thinking, Yan Shishuang spoke up directly, "It's not this big drop, but a fist-sized drop of 3000 weak water under this seawater. Because this drop of 3000 weak water fell here, it caused this area to turn dark gray and even collapse. What's the use of 3000 weak water?" Ning Cheng couldn't help but feel tempted when he thought of the 3000 weak water on the same ranking as the 5-element spirit water. Even if it was just a drop, he still looked forward to it. Yan Shishuang explained in a very careful manner, "Don't look at this 3000 weak water stream as ordinary and without any abnormalities. In fact, the unrefined weak water is as cold as ice and can freeze everything between heaven and earth. Moreover, it's like nothingness, and nothing that falls on it would suffer any damage. It's just that if you don't go in, you can't feel it at all." After refining the 3000 weak water, it could become his own treasure. This treasure generates its power according to the mood of the opponent. If the opponent fears the cold, this weak water treasure will turn into the coldest thing in the world. If the opponent fears flames, this weak water treasure will turn into the most terrifying flame. Of course, this isn't the biggest role of the 3000 weak water. If the 3000 weak water could be added to a weapon, it would bring out its real power. It's one of the most powerful artifact crafting auxiliary materials in the world. In addition, the reason why I want to cooperate with you is that only your Nirvana Bluestone can enter this 3000 weak water stream. Otherwise, entering it would only result in death." Yan Shishuang seemed to have sensed Ning Cheng's character and decided to explain the role of the Nirvana Bluestone first. She had a hunch that Ning Cheng wasn't the kind of person who wouldn't cooperate with her after knowing how to enter the weak water stream. Ning Cheng didn't expect the 3000 weak water to have such an important role. He took a deep breath and spoke, "Fairy Yan, you just said that there's only 1 drop of 3000 weak water. Even if we cooperate, how do we divide this weak water?" Yan Shishuang showed a slight smile, "I don't have the ability to take away this drop of 3000 weak water. Therefore, this weak water naturally belongs to you. As for the rest, we can divide it equally. 3000 weak water doesn't fall into a place without treasures. Since this drop of 3000 weak water fell here, it means that this place contains top-grade treasures." "Okay, I agree," Ning Cheng said without hesitation. He felt that Yan Shishuang's words contained a bit of a trap. But since Yan Shishuang didn't want this drop of 3000 weak water, what was the point of being polite about it? As for the idea of kicking Yan Shishuang away after knowing how to enter the weak water stream, Ning Cheng didn't even think about it. Sure enough, Yan Shishuang's eyes flashed with excitement, "Then you can take out the Nirvana Bluestone. As long as you throw this Nirvana Bluestone into the weak water stream in front of us, we can stand on it and sink directly to the bottom of the river." Now that they had reached an agreement, Ning Cheng acted in a straightforward manner. He didn't speak any nonsense and took out the Nirvana Bluestone, removed the restrictions covering it, and threw it into the weak water stream. Even feathers would sink to the bottom of the river, so Ning Cheng thought that if he threw this bluestone into the weak water stream, it would definitely sink to the bottom of the river. As for what to do next, Yan Shishuang definitely had a way. But to Ning Cheng's surprise, after he threw the bluestone into the weak water stream, the bluestone didn't sink on its own. Instead, it slowly sank. Yan Xishuang flew over the bluestone and called out to Ning Qing, "Hurry up. Only by standing on this nirvana bluestone can you reach the bottom of the weak water stream." Ning Qing also quickly flew over the nirvana bluestone. But as soon as he landed, a bone-chilling cold hit him. This kind of terrifying cold made Ning Qing wonder if he could withstand it if he hadn't advanced to the middle stage starry sky body. The nirvana bluestone under his feet emitted waves of heat that neutralized the cold around him. Your body forging cultivation is quite good. It's almost at the full circle of a starry sky body. Yan Xishuang's body forging cultivation was higher than Ning Cheng's. But even so, she still managed to condense some frost over her body. In fact, Ning Qing only had a middle-stage starry sky body. But Ning Qing didn't answer Yan Xishuang's words. He thought that without this nirvana bluestone, if he jumped down rashly, apart from entering the mysterious yellow bead, the only other option would be to wait for death. Even the nirvana bluestone's terrifying heat waves couldn't completely block the cold of the 3,000 weak water stream. In other words, if he and Yan Xishuang weren't experts with a starry sky body, even with the nirvana bluestone, they wouldn't be able to enter the weak water stream. Something's not right. My nirvana bluestone is melting. Ning Qing quickly discovered the changes in the nirvana bluestone under his feet. It really was getting smaller and smaller. Maybe the nirvana bluestone would turn into nothingness before reaching the bottom of the river. Chapter 751. Yan Xishuang replied calmly, "This is just seawater contaminated by the weak water. If it were the real weak water, the nirvana bluestone would melt even faster. Of course, you don't have to worry. This bluestone is enough for us to get the treasure and get out of here." The deeper the nirvana bluestone sank, the faster it melted. The space arranged by Ning Qing and Yan Xishuang also grew smaller and smaller. From this, one could imagine that without the help of the nirvana bluestone, even the space arranged by the two of them wouldn't be able to withstand the erosion of the weak water's chill. Ning Qing took in a deep breath and stared at Yan Xishuang before asking, "We haven't even gotten close to that drop of weak water, yet we already feel so uncomfortable." According to this situation, not to mention collecting that drop of weak water, even getting close to it would be very difficult, right? You knew that I couldn't collect that drop of weak water, so you used my nirvana bluestone to come down. Yan Xishuang's eyes showed a slightly apologetic look. "I said that I don't have the ability to take it. I'm not sure if you have the ability to take this drop of weak water. It was impossible to get close to the weak water unless you used the nirvana bluestone. But if you use the nirvana bluestone, I'm afraid we won't have a chance to go up. Because the closer the nirvana bluestone is to the weak water, the faster it will melt. That is to say, I can't take away that drop of weak water, and can only go treasure hunting with you." Ning Qing spoke in a somewhat unhappy tone. He had already guessed that there was something wrong with Yan Xishuang's words, but he didn't expect that the problem was that he couldn't take away the weak water. Yan Xishuang nodded and said, "Yes, you can't take that drop of weak water. Ruoshui will not land in a place without treasures. We will join hands to take away the treasures and divide them equally. We will not suffer any losses." Ning Qing spoke up in a calm voice, "That's because you don't want to suffer a loss. Even if I take out the nirvana bluestone, would this nirvana bluestone still be useful after we go up?" Yan Xishuang showed a faint smile. "Ning Qing, you think that way because you don't understand the most precious part of the nirvana bluestone. The most precious part of the nirvana bluestone was not this bluestone, but the nirvana heart. The nirvana heart can upgrade the top-grade flame in the starry skies. As for to what extent, I can't even imagine it. As far as I know, the nirvana bluestone is very difficult to break. Only the 3,000 weak water can break it. I did indeed use your nirvana bluestone, but I also let you break it open and obtain the nirvana heart. The nirvana heart is a priceless treasure that cannot be measured by value. If you are willing to give me the nirvana heart, I would rather not have anything here." Ning Qing felt ecstatic after hearing Yan Xishuang's words. No wonder Yan Xishuang wanted to exchange so many good things for his blue stone. Apart from entering the 3,000 week water river, the other reason was Nirvana's heart. Could the Nirvana heart upgrade the top-grade flame in the starry sky again? In other words, once his flame reached the grade 6 starry sky flame, could he continue to use the Nirvana heart to upgrade his flame again? If you feel like you lost out, I can give you a starry sky spiritual vein. Yan Xishuang spoke with a calm voice. She felt that Ning Qing wasn't a person who would suffer a loss. Forget it. Ning Qing showed a smile. He placed a lot of importance on cultivation resources, and a starry sky spiritual vein was a priceless treasure for him. Even now, he didn't have any starry sky spiritual veins on him. He felt grateful that Yan Xishuang didn't hide the truth from him and even explained the role of the Nirvana heart. Compared to the Nirvana heart, what was a starry sky spiritual vein? If Yan Xishuang hadn't told him, he wouldn't have known that he had the Nirvana heart. Perhaps he would have known about it later, but who knew how long it would take? His celestial river flame was already a grade 5 starry sky flame. As long as it advanced by one more level, it would advance to a grade 6 starry sky flame. At that time, he could use the Nirvana heart to upgrade his celestial river flame. At that time, he wouldn't have to worry about the Nirvana spear not melting. Besides, if he and Yan Xishuang switched places, maybe he would have found a way to get Yan Xishuang to cooperate with him. However, he wouldn't play the same petty tricks as Yan Xishuang. He would speak frankly about the matter, and if she didn't agree, he would just forget about it. Cultivation opportunities had to be found by oneself. Sitting around and waiting would never yield results. Although Yan Xishuang's approach wasn't very aboveboard, it also wasn't a despicable plot. Seeing that Ning Qing didn't want to take advantage of her, Yan Xishuang felt a little embarrassed, but she didn't know what to say. This seawater was very deep, and although the Nirvana blue stone sank quickly, it still hadn't reached the bottom after 3 hours. Are you a rogue cultivator? Yan Xishuang felt that the atmosphere between the two of them sitting together was a little awkward, so she took the initiative to talk to Ning Qing. I used to be, but now I belong to a sect. Ning Qing had just replied when a blue light swept over them. Yan Xishuang suddenly stood up. We're at the bottom of the weak water river. As long as we head to a place with dense spirit qi. Yan Xishuang's words suddenly stopped. She, like Ning Qing, stared in the direction of the blue light. The things under the green light were incomparably clear. Even the seawater that had been contaminated by the weak water could not obstruct their vision. Moreover, the seawater outside the blue light could still block the two's spiritual consciousness. What kind of blue light is this? It's so powerful that it can directly penetrate the 3,000 weak water and still shine so clearly. Ning Qing spoke up in amazement. Yan Xishuang took in a deep breath. It's not completely weak water. It's seawater contaminated by weak water. Even so, this blue light is amazing. Let's go and have a look. Ning Qing nodded, took out a few array flags and threw them next to the Nirvana bluestone. As the array flags melted, the Nirvana bluestone slowly moved towards the blue light. The direction of the blue light is in the direction of that drop of weak water. Strange, 3,000 weak water doesn't emit blue light. Yan Xishuang spoke up in doubt. Even if Yan Xishuang didn't say it, Ning Qing could guess it. Because the Nirvana bluestone would melt faster as it moved in the direction of the blue light. Yan Xishuang was just about to stop Ning Qing from moving forward and the scene in front of her shocked her once again. A fist-sized drop of dark gray water was suspended above a lotus petal. To be precise, it was suspended above a blue lotus petal. Ning Qing had long since stopped, as he was shocked by the blue-colored lotus petals. He could clearly feel the aura of a good fortune treasure from this blue lotus petal. It turned out to be a good fortune lotus petal equivalent to the mysterious yellow bead. However, the good fortune aura contained within the drop of weak water couldn't leak out at all. This blue lotus petal is definitely a heavenly treasure. Otherwise, that drop of weak water wouldn't have fallen onto this lotus petal. Yan Xishuang spoke with a trembling voice. She only knew that 3,000 weak water wouldn't fall into a place without treasures. She initially thought that this drop of weak water would be in a starry sky spiritual vein or a large starry sky pill pond. But she never expected that this drop of weak water would fall onto a lotus petal. From this, she understood that this lotus petal was definitely a top-grade treasure. I want that blue lotus petal. Yan Xishuang spoke with a trembling voice before sighing. She knew that it would be difficult to take away that blue lotus petal. They couldn't even get close to this lotus petal. Ning Qing took in a deep breath. I'll try to take away that drop of weak water. But I want to tell you that even if you can take away this lotus petal, you can't take it away. Why? Do you want me to give you half? Yan Xishuang looked at Ning Qing and asked. It didn't matter if they split it in half. Moreover, she guessed that this lotus petal was the only thing in this place and nothing else. Ning Qing hesitated for a moment before speaking up. Have you heard of good fortune treasures? Yan Xishuang's eyes flashed with extreme shock. She immediately grabbed Ning Qing's arm and spoke with a trembling voice. Ning Qing, did you say that this lotus petal is a good fortune treasure? Ning Qing smiled in his heart. There's finally something you don't know about. Although he understood that Yan Xishuang didn't know that this blue lotus petal was a good fortune treasure, it was because the drop of weak water concealed the good fortune aura. Unlike him, who had the mysterious yellow bead. Yes, if I'm not wrong, this lotus petal is a fragment of a good fortune treasure. Seeing that Yan Xishuang didn't hide anything from him, Ning Qing didn't hide anything. Yan Xishuang didn't notice her impoliteness. Instead, she couldn't hide the shock and excitement in her eyes. She muttered, it's a good fortune treasure, a fragment of the good fortune lotus. But soon, she remembered what Ning Qing had just said and quickly asked, you took a fancy to this good fortune treasure, so you don't want to share it with me? When she said this, she completely forgot that her cultivation was higher than Ning Qing's. Let go of your hand first. Ning Qing looked at Yan Xishuang, who was holding on to him. Only then did Yan Xishuang realize that she had been too excited. She quickly put down her hand and looked at Ning Qing with even more urgency. Ning Qing spoke up speechlessly, can you separate a good fortune treasure? Yan Xishuang thought about it and agreed. If a good fortune treasure could be separated, it wouldn't be a good fortune treasure. Even if she was an eternal level expert, she couldn't separate a good fortune treasure. Ning Qing, however, fell into contemplation after saying those words. Good fortune treasures were so tough, so how could they have fragments? What could break a good fortune treasure? The good fortune indestructible axe he saw before was a fragment, and now he saw a blue lotus petal, which was also a fragment. A blue lotus petal? Was it a fragment of the good fortune azure lotus? Ning Qing felt even more shocked. When he obtained the mysterious yellow bead, he had obtained some inheritance, which contained some vague information about the good fortune azure lotus. Since both the good fortune indestructible axe and the good fortune azure lotus could be broken, the only possibility was that the owners of these two good fortune treasures had fought each other, which resulted in both of them breaking apart. Yan Xishuang didn't know that Ning Qing didn't even think about taking the azure lotus fragment for himself. But when she saw Ning Qing frowning and thinking about it, she thought that Ning Qing didn't want to give up this treasure. She sighed and said, this azure lotus isn't easy to get. If you can get it, you can have it. I didn't even use any strength. Ning Qing showed a slight smile, Fairy Yan, I don't want to take this azure lotus for myself. It's because this azure lotus has no benefits for you. Once I take away this drop of weak water, the good fortune aura of the azure lotus would overflow. Do you think you can survive with the good fortune aura around you? Yan Xishuang spoke up directly, Ning Qing, I really want this azure lotus. If you are willing to give it to me, I have a way to hide the good fortune aura of the azure lotus. If you don't want to give it to me, just forget what I said. Chapter 752. Ning Qing spoke up with a calm voice, the good fortune fragment is good, but it wouldn't make me break my promise. If I can take away this drop of weak water, you have to put away the green lotus fragment as fast as possible. I will give you at most half an incense stick of time. If you haven't taken away the green lotus fragment in half an incense stick of time, then sorry, I will take it away myself. Ning Qing really didn't covet the good fortune azure lotus fragment, even though he knew that it would bring him great benefits. However, since the two of them were working together, he couldn't possibly eat them all. That would be too unsightly. But since Yan Xishuang didn't take away the azure lotus fragment after half an incense stick worth of time, then he wouldn't remain polite. The good fortune aura of the green lotus fragment could easily be exposed. With his ability, he could at most control this aura for the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn. After half an incense stick worth of time, if Yan Xishuang couldn't take away the azure lotus fragment, he would take it himself. Otherwise, if someone sensed the aura of the good fortune treasure, he would be shooting himself in the foot. Alright, I agree. If I can't take this lotus fragment in half an incense stick's time, then I'll let you take it. However, ordinary items could not be stored in the 3000 weak water. Even a top-grade Dao artifact would be quickly corroded by the 3000 weak water. Are you sure you can take away this 3000 weak water? Yan Xishuang asked with some doubt after agreeing to Ning Cheng's words. If Ning Cheng couldn't take away the 3000 weak water, she couldn't collect the good fortune azure lotus fragment. Ning Cheng had already thought of this a long time ago. He had a hunch that his measureless gourd could take away this 3000 weak water. As for why, it was just a hunch. If the measureless gourd could not take away the 3000 weak water, then Ning Cheng decided to leave immediately. Treasures were good, but his life was more important. I'll give it a try. Saying that, Ning Cheng brought out the measureless gourd and drove the Nirvana bluestone towards the weak water. The closer the Nirvana bluestone got to the weak water, the louder the chi-chi sound became. At the same time, the cold aura also wrapped Yan Xishuang in a layer of frost. Even if Ning Cheng's body contained the celestial river flame, his eyebrows gradually started to condense with white frost. This was definitely not an ordinary white frost. This kind of frost was thousands of times colder than ordinary white frost. Once this frost invaded their blood, even if Ning Cheng and Yan Xishuang were body-refining experts with a starry sky body, they would still freeze to death. Stop, we can't go any further. Yan Xishuang anxiously called out to Ning Cheng. If they went any further, this Nirvana bluestone would turn into nothingness. Without the Nirvana bluestone, they would undoubtedly die. Ning Cheng stopped and looked at Yan Xishuang calmly before saying, Fairy Yan, I have to give it a try. If you don't want to try. If Yan Xishuang didn't want to try, then he couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't just send Yan Xishuang up. If he sent Yan Xishuang up, he might never be able to come to this place again. Yan Xishuang sighed. Ning Cheng, continue. Since he wanted to obtain something good, he had to take this risk. But what I want to tell you is that once the Nirvana bluestone completely melts, I still have a trump card to escape. If you can't escape, Ning Cheng spoke in a light voice, I don't need you to care about me, in case of failure, you can just walk away by yourself. While speaking, Ning Cheng sped up even more. The Nirvana bluestone's sizzling sounds grew even faster, and the bluestone started to shrink. Ning Cheng estimated that in just half an incense stick worth of time, the bluestone would completely melt. Yan Xishuang looked at Ning Cheng with a complicated look before taking out a talisman and holding it in her hand. Breaking boundary talisman? Ning Cheng asked in surprise. He had already used a breaking boundary talisman in the past. Tsang Wei had given him one, and he knew that it was a heaven-defying talisman that could tear through the boundary and escape. Since Yan Xishuang could take out a breaking boundary talisman, it meant that she definitely had an extraordinary background. Ning Cheng could also see that Yan Xishuang's breaking boundary talisman was somewhat different from the one Song Wei gave him. Although the grade wasn't as good as the one Song Wei gave him, the Dao charm flowing over it was of a higher grade. Yan Xishuang nodded. It's a breaking boundary talisman. My breaking boundary talisman is a bit special. To be precise, it's much better than common breaking boundary talismans. Unfortunately, this breaking boundary talisman can only go to a specific place, and only one person can go there. So, I can't take you away. At this point, Yan Xishuang seemed a little embarrassed. Ning Cheng had saved her life before. But now, in a life and death situation, she could only protect herself and couldn't help Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not care about it as he waved his hand. Not everyone was like Yu Qin who valued friendship and righteousness. If it were Yu Qin instead of Yan Xishuang, even if the two of them had just met, Yu Qin wouldn't hesitate to give the breaking boundary talisman to Ning Cheng. There was no other reason than that he had saved her life. In fact, even if Yan Xishuang didn't want to leave and gave him the breaking boundary talisman, he would never take it. It had nothing to do with the mysterious yellow bead. It was just that he wouldn't do such a thing. Yan Xishuang obviously wasn't like Yu Qin. If her breaking boundary talisman could take away Ning Cheng, she wouldn't hesitate to take him away. But since her breaking boundary talisman could only be used by one person, she wouldn't give up this opportunity to others. The sizzling sound grew louder and louder, and the bluestone slab shrank to less than 3 feet. It was foreseeable that if the Nirvana bluestone shrank any further, it wouldn't be able to accommodate 2 people at the same time. Yan Xishuang leaned close to Ning Cheng, and the talisman in her hand even gave off a faint glow. From this, one could tell that she was ready to escape at any time. Ning Cheng remained calm. When the bluestone slab shrank to less than 2 feet, he suddenly brought out the measureless gourd in his hand. The measureless gourd, driven by Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness, directly covered the drop of weak water and released a suction force towards the weak water. At the same time, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness turned into countless tiny consciousness threads and shot out. However, before these consciousness threads could even touch the weak water, they turned into nothingness. As the powerful aura of the weak water and cold water assaulted him, Ning Cheng felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, Ning Cheng crazily sent out more spiritual consciousness threads. He had a starry sky sea of consciousness, and his sea of consciousness had recently advanced once. Plus, he also had the protection of the everlasting Blue Thunder City and the Celestial River in his sea of consciousness. Although the powerful backlash from the weak water could hurt him, it couldn't do anything to him. As Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness threads increased in number and the suction force from the measureless gourd grew stronger, the drop of weak water finally reached Ning Cheng and turned into a dark gray stream that rushed into the measureless gourd. No matter how powerful the weak water was, it was only a drop. After the drop of weak water entered the measureless gourd, Ning Cheng quickly activated several restrictions and sealed the mouth of the gourd. Ning Cheng felt pleasantly surprised. First, the measureless gourd could really collect the 3,000 drops of weak water. Second, he felt that this drop of 3,000 drops of weak water would help him a lot in the future. Yan Xishuang, who was about to activate the talisman, felt shocked when she saw Ning Cheng put away the weak water. She quickly reacted and rushed out, pouncing towards the green lotus petal. Ning Cheng's face turned pale. Nevertheless, he kept his promise and threw out dozens of array flags, covering up the good fortune aura of the azure lotus petal. Yan Xishuang really wasn't bragging. She didn't even need half an incense stick worth of time to collect the good fortune azure lotus petal. As for where it went, Ning Cheng couldn't feel it. This woman must have some secrets, Ning Cheng thought to himself in shock. However, he didn't show it on his face. Instead, he picked up the half-foot-long Nirvana bluestone under his feet. He vaguely felt that this half-foot-long Nirvana bluestone had something wrapped inside it, and that something was still shaking. Was this the nirvana heart that could evolve a grade 6 starry sky flame? Ning Cheng's heart filled with expectations. The surprise on Yan Xishuang's face was even more obvious than Ning Cheng's. She threw a ring to Ning Cheng and said, "These are for you. Thank you for your generosity. I'm leaving now. If you have the ability to go to where I am in the future, I will thank you again." The moment Ning Cheng received the ring, Yan Xishuang activated the breaking boundary talisman in her hand. The breaking boundary talisman shot out a ray of light and instantly disappeared without a trace. Even after Yan Xishuang obtained the good fortune azure lotus fragment, she still couldn't wait to leave. Ning Cheng didn't find it strange that this woman was a little wary of him. After obtaining the good fortune azure lotus fragment, she became even more wary of him. Therefore, she didn't hesitate to bring out the breaking boundary talisman to escape. She feared that he would snatch the azure lotus fragment. Ning Cheng didn't care about it. Not to mention a good fortune azure lotus fragment, even if it was the entire good fortune azure lotus. If he agreed to it, he wouldn't go back on his word and snatch it. Since he and Yan Xishuang had cooperated, he didn't feel like he suffered a loss. Of course, Yan Xishuang should have earned more. After Ning Cheng took away the drop of weak water, the cold seawater around him disappeared completely. Ning Cheng's shield also blocked the surrounding seawater, and it only took him a few breaths to rush out of the water again. The 3,000 weak water river, which originally stood apart from the surrounding deep blue seawater, had disappeared without a trace, and the knife-like interface also started to merge with the surrounding seawater. The weak water river, which was originally a few feet lower, had already become level with the surrounding seawater. Once the waves came over, nothing could stop them anymore, and they directly swept over it. This 3,000 weak water river truly felt strange. Ning Cheng sighed and brought out the starry sky wheel before disappearing without a trace. After Ning Cheng left the devouring bone star, he immediately checked the ring Yan Xishuang gave him. Opening the ring, Ning Cheng found a starry sky spiritual vein and 10 million permanent essence pills inside. This made Ning Cheng feel very satisfied. What he lacked the most was cultivation resources. Although the value of the good fortune azure lotus fragment was countless times more precious than his cultivation resources, Ning Cheng didn't feel disappointed. He and Yan Xishuang were just cooperating. Not to mention that Yan Xishuang had paid him some cultivation resources. Even if Yan Xishuang didn't take out anything, he wouldn't have been able to do anything. After putting away these things, Ning Cheng began to refine the drop of 3,000 weak water. Regardless of how useful this drop of 3,000 weak water would be to him in the future, he urgently needed this drop of weak water to cover up the mysterious yellow aura. The mysterious yellow bead still lacked the wood origin bead. Once he entered the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate, the mysterious yellow aura would leak out. Since this drop of weak water could hide the good fortune aura of the good fortune azure lotus fragment, it could also hide the good fortune aura of the mysterious yellow bead. Chapter 753. The drop of 3,000 weak water, which Ning Cheng refined, floated in the corner of the starry sky wheel's inner cabin. The mysterious yellow bead floated under this drop of weak water, without letting even the slightest bit of mysterious yellow aura seep out. Without Ning Cheng, even if this drop of weak water could cover up the good fortune aura, it could only use the devouring bone sea to hide the azure lotus fragment. It would be impossible to hide the complete good fortune origin aura of the mysterious yellow bead. However, the mysterious yellow bead was Ning Cheng's, and it had already recognized him as its master. Moreover, the mysterious yellow bead had already gathered 4 kinds of origins and only lacked the wood origin. Moreover, when Ning Cheng reached the Tao returning to 1 in the mysterious yellow bead, the laws of the mysterious yellow bead had slowly established themselves. Although it wasn't complete, it already had the aura of the starry sky laws. At this time, even if Ning Cheng did not use the weak water to cover up the mysterious yellow bead, he could still restrain almost 99% of the good fortune origin aura. Now that Ning Cheng refined the drop of 3,000 weak water, it floated above the mysterious yellow bead, perfectly concealing the mysterious yellow bead's aura. Ning Cheng stayed inside the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate while the starry sky wheel moved towards culmination starland under Chasing Bull's control. Ning Cheng knew that his cultivation was still too low. Regardless of whether Chuan Xinluo could successfully reach Dao confirming realm or not, he had to use every bit of time to cultivate. The starry sky wheel controlled by Chasing Bull wasn't fast, but even so, it was still 10 times faster than an average starry sky battleship. Inside the mysterious yellow bead, piles of permanent essence pills turned into nothingness under Ning Cheng's absorption. The starry sky spiritual vein given to him by Yan Xishuang also gradually shrank. The rich and pure starry sky essence qi merged with the mysterious yellow origin, metal, water, fire, and earth origin auras to form a huge dragon-shaped essence qi that poured into Ning Cheng's body. With such a powerful absorption intensity, Ning Cheng's cultivation rose at a crazy pace, just like when he absorbed the starry sky essence qi. At the same time, his starry sky sea of consciousness and celestial essence continued to condense. Because of the absorption speed and range, Ning Cheng's starry sky essence also started to condense. The starry sky's essence qi around Ning Cheng's body turned into a whistling sound. If not for the mysterious yellow bead, this kind of momentum would have been too shocking. 5 months later, Ning Cheng had consumed more than 10 million permanent essence pills, and the starry sky essence qi vein under him had also disappeared. Ning Cheng opened his eyes and stood up before putting away the mysterious yellow bead. It didn't make any sense for him to continue cultivating. He only had about 3 million permanent essence pills left. Over the past few months, he had used up more than 10 million permanent essence pills, plus a starry sky essence qi vein. Yet, he had only managed to raise his cultivation to the peak of middle stage life and death realm. However, he was still a step away from the late-stage life and death realm. This made Ning Cheng slightly disappointed. He knew that with the improvement of his cultivation, the resources he needed for his cultivation would also increase by several times. He also did not expect that the things required for cultivation would be so terrifying. Initially, he thought that more than 10 million permanent essence pills plus a starry sky essence qi vein would allow him to advance to the peak of life and death realm. But now it seems that he would need at least several times more to reach the peak of life and death realm. Fortunately, his strength had also increased by several folds. Compared to when he had just entered the life and death realm, his strength had taken another step forward. If he had been at a complete disadvantage against Chuan Xinluo before, then Ning Cheng believed that even if he couldn't compare to Chuan Xinluo now, it wouldn't be by much. What he feared the most now was that Chuan Xinluo managed to reach Dao confirming realm. If Chuan Xinluo succeeded in reaching Dao confirming realm, he would still be an ant in front of Chuan Xinluo. As for whether Chuan Xinluo died in the ancient Shadow Temple or not, Ning Cheng had a vague feeling that he wasn't the only one who came out alive after entering the ancient Shadow Temple. If only 2 people came out of the ancient Shadow Temple alive, then Chuan Xinluo would definitely be one of them. Master, we've reached culmination starland. Chasing Bull felt Ning Cheng coming out of the mysterious yellow bead and quickly called out. Seeing Chasing Bull's expectant eyes, Ning Cheng understood that this fellow didn't want to stay in the true spirit world to cultivate. It just wanted to follow him outside. You don't have to enter the true spirit world, just follow me. Ning Cheng didn't care about it. Although Chasing Bull was a spirit beast, it couldn't cultivate to the eternal realm in a short period of time. Unless one cultivated in the mysterious yellow bead, but Chasing Bull obviously couldn't cultivate in the mysterious yellow bead. Many thanks, Master. I promise I won't let down Master's prestige. Chasing Bull felt overjoyed. A huge defensive array blocked Ning Cheng's path, and the 3 words "You Clan's Corner" appeared in front of Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng stopped but didn't ask anyone. Seeing Yu Clan's Corner, Yu Qing's face appeared in his mind. Yu Qing would never appear again. Even if Yu Qing reincarnated, she would have nothing to do with him. Ning Cheng sighed. Thinking about Yu Qing, he couldn't help but miss Qianghua and Luofei even more. This time, after completing Yu Qing's task, if Qianghua and Luofei still couldn't find the mysterious yellow starland, he would issue a search warrant for the entire starry sky. He would never allow the same thing to happen a second time. "Who are you looking for?" A celestial bridge cultivator stopped Ning Cheng and looked at Ning Cheng and Chasing Bull beside Ning Cheng with some doubts. Chasing Bull wanted to speak for its master, but it didn't know what Ning Cheng was doing here. Ning Cheng cupped his fists and spoke up politely, "Excuse me, is Shen Mengyan here?" When the celestial bridge cultivator heard Ning Cheng say that he was looking for Shen Mengyan, his tone turned a little cold. "This is Yu Clan's corner. I don't know this person. Please go ahead." Ning Cheng frowned slightly. Yu Qing had made it very clear that her mother's name was Shen Mengyan. Since she was Yu Qing's mother, then she must be in Yu Clan's corner. "You better speak politely. If you anger this Grandpa Bull will swallow you." Chasing Bull, on seeing its master frown, suddenly became angry. It kicked its hooves and roared. Chasing Bull's cultivation was much higher compared to this celestial bridge cultivator. Therefore, when this imposing aura came crashing down, the celestial bridge cultivator found it difficult to breathe. This celestial bridge cultivator obviously wasn't an idiot. Knowing that Chasing Bull's strength far surpassed him, he simply kept his mouth shut. Ning Cheng ignored Chasing Bull and asked again, "Excuse me, does Yu Qing live here?" The celestial bridge cultivator wanted to shout at Ning Cheng again, but when he glanced at the aggressive Chasing Bull next to him, he softened his tone and spoke, "Yu Qing has already fallen. There is no longer a person named Yu Qing here. You looking for Yu Qing has nothing to do with my Yu Clan's corner. You can leave now." "Then I'll ask again. Is Yu Qing's mother called Shen Mengyan?" Ning Cheng's politeness disappeared without a trace, and his tone turned stern. Ning Cheng had spoken politely because of Yu Qing. But since this fellow showed no politeness towards Yu Qing, he naturally would not remain polite. "Shen Mengyan is indeed Yu Qing's mother. She went out to look for Yu Qing many years ago, but there is no such person in Yu Clan's corner." A crisp voice arrived, and a female cultivator in the heaven-seated realm appeared behind the celestial bridge cultivator. The celestial bridge cultivator quickly stepped forward and bowed, "Greetings, Aunt Ling." Ning Cheng also looked at this woman. She had early-stage heaven-seated cultivation and a slightly long face. But at the same time, she was also quite beautiful. Ning Cheng felt a little dissatisfied. Yu Clan's corner had some fame in Culmination Starland. Why didn't they invite someone to come in and sit down? Instead, they directly said that the person they were looking for was not here. "I'm Yu Qing's friend. Yu Qing asked me to bring something to her mother, Senior Shen Mengyan." Ning Cheng said this because he wanted this Aunt Ling to invite him in. He wanted to learn more about Yu Qing and then ask about Shen Mengyan's whereabouts. But Ning Cheng didn't expect that before he could finish his words, this heaven-seated female cultivator directly interrupted Ning Cheng, "Yu Qing is not here, and neither is Shen Mengyan. If you have something, just give it to me and then leave." If she hadn't seen the bull next to Ning Cheng looking a little weird, she might have said something even worse. In fact, in her eyes, Ning Cheng was nothing. Yu Qing's friend, what was Yu Qing's cultivation? It would be strange if her friend could be any better. Chasing Bull snorted, and Ning Cheng knew that Chasing Bull was about to go berserk again. He patted Chasing Bull's head and spoke, "Since we're not welcome here, let's go." Yu Clan's corner was Yu Qing's hometown, and he didn't want to cause trouble here. As for handing over the purple moon-shaped talisman given to him by Yu Qing to someone else, Ning Cheng didn't even think about it. Since Yu Qing asked him to give it to Shen Mengyan, he had to hand it over to Shen Mengyan. Seeing that Ning Cheng didn't mention anything about handing over Yu Qing's things, Aunt Ling didn't force it, nor did she stop Ning Cheng from leaving. She just gave a cold snort and raised her hand to flick Ning Cheng's back. A faintly discernible aura fell on Ning Cheng's back, but Ning Cheng didn't seem to notice it. Master, where are we going? Do you want to go to Eternal Heaven's Starry Sky City? After leaving Yu Clan's corner, Chasing Bull quickly asked. It couldn't forget the liveliness of Eternal Heaven's Starry Sky City. Now that it came here again, it wanted to go to the lively Eternal Heaven's Starry Sky City the most. Not for the time being. If we go, wouldn't that mark us too far away? Ning Cheng replied with a calm voice. A trivial heaven-seated cultivator dared to leave a spiritual consciousness imprint on his back. Since this Entling left a spiritual consciousness imprint on his back, she most likely wanted to kill him after he left. Perhaps because of this, she didn't force him to take out Yu Qing's things at the entrance of Yu Clan's corner. From the looks of it, after Yu Qing left Yu Clan's corner, something must have happened to her mother, Shen Mengyan. If Aunt Ling hadn't left a spiritual consciousness imprint on him, Ning Cheng would have already sneaked into Yu Clan's corner to investigate. But since Aunt Ling dared to leave a spiritual consciousness imprint on him, then she shouldn't blame him. When that Aunt Ling came to his door, he could then interrogate her. Chasing Bull might be a fool, but it wasn't a fool. As soon as Ning Cheng spoke those words, it immediately understood that someone had left a spiritual consciousness imprint on its master. It immediately felt angry. This woman ate a bear's heart and leopard's gall, daring to leave a spiritual consciousness imprint on its master. After leaving Yu Clan's corner, Ning Cheng didn't move too fast. He initially thought that Aunt Ling wanted to kill him and would definitely wait for him to leave before making her move. However, he had just left Yu Clan's corner when his spiritual consciousness swept out and detected someone following him. What made him speechless was that the cultivator following him was just a celestial shatterer cultivator. Ning Cheng couldn't understand it. Even if Aunt Ling's head was kicked by a donkey, she wouldn't let a celestial shatterer cultivator chase after him, right? Chapter 754. Senior. Ning Cheng did not expect that the celestial shatterer cultivator behind him would unexpectedly call out to him with a respectful tone. Ning Cheng stopped and looked at the white-haired celestial shatterer cultivator and asked, "Are you looking for me?" The celestial shatterer cultivator quickly stepped forward and spoke with a bow. "This junior is called Ai Ku. If Senior is a friend of Little Miss and really came back to deliver something for Little Miss, then please follow this junior." Ning Cheng directly brought out the starry sky wheel and let the celestial shatterer cultivator stand on the starry sky wheel before speaking. "If the Little Miss you mentioned is Yu Qing, then you can lead the way." No matter who the other party was or what they wanted to do, Ning Cheng was not afraid. With his current cultivation, even if several eternal cultivators besieged him, he could still escape with ease. "Yes." The celestial shatterer cultivator quickly responded. Chasing Bull controlled the starry sky wheel and quickly moved away from Yu Clan's corner under the guidance of this celestial shatterer cultivator. More than an hour later, the starry sky wheel stopped in front of an open-air makeshift market. This makeshift market was very low level, and the highest cultivator in it was only in the celestial bridge realm. Moreover, there were very few of them. Most of the cultivators were below the celestial bridge realm and only in the celestial scry realm. Ai Ku took Ning Cheng through 7 or 8 turns, and finally arrived at a corner of the makeshift market. There were no shops here, only some temporary and crude cave residences. Although these caves looked shabby, it was not because they were poorly built, but because the starry sky essence chi in these caves was extremely sparse. As such, it could not be regarded as a good place for cultivation. Ning Cheng estimated that if he cultivated in such a place, without any external help, even if he cultivated for 10,000 years, he wouldn't be able to advance to the eternal realm. Ai Ku stopped in front of an immortal cave. Ai Ku had not yet opened the immortal cave's restriction, but Ning Cheng could already see the situation inside the immortal cave. There was only one person in the immortal cave, and it was someone that Ning Cheng knew. Ning Cheng only knew that the talkative girl who had been with Yu Qing at that time was called Cece. But now, Cece's face was haggard, and her hair was a mess. She looked more than 10 years older than before. His cultivation was hovering around the celestial shadow realm, and from the looks of it, it was still regressing. Seeing Cece, Ning Qing felt a sense of familiarity in his heart. Cece was one of Yu Qing's people. Since Ning Qing treated Yu Qing differently, he also treated Cece differently. Ai Ku opened the cave's restrictions, and Ning Qing instructed Chasing Bull to stand guard outside before following Ai Ku into the cave. Cece, this senior said that he is Mrs. Friend. Aiku said hurriedly as soon as he came in. Cece looked up at Ning Qing in a daze, and then her eyes showed a trace of surprise. Interrupting Aiku's words, she spoke, "You are." "That's right, you're called Ning Qing. Elder sister Qing told me about you. Why are you here?" After she finished speaking, Cece suddenly remembered Ai Ku's words from before and quickly asked, "Senior apprentice brother Ning, did you see sister Qing afterwards?" Ning Qing turned to Ai Ku and spoke, "Ai Ku, you go out for a bit. I want to speak to junior apprentice sister Cece alone." "All right." Aiku bowed respectfully and left the room. "How did you get here? Didn't sister Qing say that you fell in the time wilderness?" "Originally, elder sister Qing was looking for you to cooperate with her. But since she couldn't find any news about you, she decided to cooperate with another person." Cece, on seeing Ning Qing, a person she was not familiar with, seemed to speak a lot more. She could not react for a while and could not think of how Ning Qing found Ai Ku. Ning Qing sighed and looked at Cece before speaking, "I'm sorry, Cece. I lied to Yu Qing. In fact, Wanderer is just my alias. Yu Qing entered the time wilderness again because of me. Yu Qing entered the time wilderness for the second time because of Wanderer, which Cece already knew. She even knew that elder sister Qing had fallen in love with the Wanderer who carried her on his back for a few years and never abandoned her. She never thought that Ning Qing was Wanderer. Moreover, Ning Qing did not fall but came out of the time wilderness." After hearing Ning Qing's words, Cece suddenly felt dumbfounded. After a long time, she suddenly understood and pointed at Ning Qing while stammering, You. I understand, you are Jiangzhou's Wanderer, the Jiangzhou's Wanderer who rushed to the top of the 9x9 celestial scryer tower." If Ning Qing had not mentioned the name Wanderer, even if Cece knew that the person who reached the top of the celestial scryer tower was called Jiangzhou's Wanderer, she would not have thought of Ning Qing. Ning Qing nodded, "Yes, I'm that Jiangzhou's Wanderer." Cece's shock only lasted for a moment before she once again turned decadent, and her tone turned abnormally low. "Elder sister Qing really has a good eye. She once said that the person she likes must be outstanding. Even if it was within the celestial scryer tower, that person would have to be ranked first. Although she did not see it with her own eyes, you managed to climb to the 81st floor of the celestial scryer tower. Unfortunately, elder sister Qing is no longer here." Cece spoke halfway when her tone suddenly changed, turning even more depressed and sad. Ning Qing spoke up slowly, "Cece, when Yu Qing met me, I was just an ordinary wanderer. When she fell in love with me, I had not yet reached the 81st floor of the celestial scryer tower. The reason why she said that was because she did not want people to keep bothering her. She was a person with a good temperament, a good woman." Cece sighed, "From childhood to adulthood, I have always been with elder sister Qing. I have never seen a kinder person than elder sister Qing. Did you know? That time in the rest stop in the revolving Jade City, elder sister Qing asked me to pour wine on you, but it was actually to save you. The white-robed heaven-seated cultivator who targeted you was a demon. He likes to devour the spiritual roots of cultivators. He left a spiritual consciousness mark on you, which made elder sister Qing want to help you." Thinking that Yu Qing was no longer here, Cece could not continue. "I know." Ning Qing's tone also turned a little lonely. If he could, he would rather save Yu Qing at any cost. "You should leave quickly. Remember not to let anyone know that you are a Jiangzhou's Wanderer. If someone knows that you are a Jiangzhou's Wanderer, maybe someone will try to take over your body." I can't even protect myself right now, and I can't help you. Under the great changes, Cece's temperament had also changed a lot. If it were before, she would have definitely blamed Ning Cheng for Yu Qing's death. But now, she just wanted Ning Cheng to leave quickly. Elder Sister Qing risked her life to save this person, and she did not want to let Elder Sister Qing down. Ning Cheng did not leave. He calmed his mood and spoke, "Cece, tell me what happened. Why are you hiding here?" Ai Ku did not say that Ning Cheng came here to deliver something to Yu Qing before Cece interrupted him. Cece's mind was in a mess right now, so she did not think too much about Ning Cheng coming here. She knew that Ning Cheng was the person Elder Sister Qing liked. Now that Ning Cheng asked about it, she did not hide it. Shortly after Elder Sister Qing left, Aunt Lon fell in the Twin Tower Hill. Who is Aunt Lon? Where is the Twin Tower Hill? Ning Cheng asked immediately. Aunt Lon is Elder Sister Qing's master, and I cultivate behind Aunt Lon. The Twin Tower Hill is a trial ground outside Culmination Starland. When Aunt Lon went to the Twin Tower Hill, she had just advanced to the late-stage life and death realm. It's not because the Twin Tower Hill is too dangerous that Aunt Lon fell, but because of that dog thief Ji Lei. That dog thief killed Aunt Lon. Cece even gnashed her teeth as she spoke. Who is Ji Lei? How could he kill Aunt Lon, a late-stage life and death realm cultivator? Ning Cheng's tone turned a little unfriendly. Cece did not hear the difference in Ning Cheng's tone and explained, Ji Lei is Chuan Xinluo's dog with early-stage eternal cultivation. Ning Cheng asked in confusion, if Chuan Xinluo had any ideas about Yu Clan's corner, he would have already destroyed it. Why would he send Ji Lei? Cece shook her head, no, Ji Lei killed Aunt Lon because of those despicable people from Yu Clan's corner. In Yu Clan's corner, there is a vicious woman named Baoinga. She was the one who sent Ji Lei to kill Aunt Lon. After she instigated Ji Lei to kill Aunt Lon, she then framed Aunt Yan for losing her virtue. After Yu Clan crippled Aunt Yan's cultivation and locked her in the water prison, she and her sister immediately took away Aunt Lan's essence chi praying mat. So, Baoinga killed Aunt Lon because of that essence chi praying mat. Baoinga's surname is not Yu, so how could she do such evil things in Yu Clan's corner? Besides, why didn't Yu Qing's father come out to speak? Ning Cheng's tone turned even colder. Since something happened to Yu Qing, he could not ignore Yu Qing's master and mother. Cece sighed again, Sister Qing's father is called Yu Yuechen. Sister Qing's mother, Shen Mengyan, and Baoinga both fell in love with Sister Qing's father. However, Sister Qing's father only chose Aunt Yan. Shortly after Sister Qing's birth, Sister Qing's father left Culmination Starland. After that, he never came back. Aunt Lon and Aunt Yan brought up Sister Qing. Ning Cheng felt even more puzzled, since Baoinga wasn't chosen by Sister Qing's father, how could she snatch the essence chi praying mat in Yu Clan's corner? Cece explained, because Baoinga has an elder sister called Bao Lingling. She is the Dao companion of Yu Clan's elder Yu Xingxian. Yu Xingxian has early-stage life and death cultivation and is one of the most important figures in Yu Clan. Moreover, he controls Yu Clan's cultivation resources and has a high status in Yu Clan's corner. Is this woman's cultivation in the heaven-seated realm? As Ning Cheng spoke, he raised his hand and drew out a void image. When Cece saw the image drawn by Ning Cheng, she spoke up in shock, that's her. Senior apprentice brother Ning, how do you know this woman? Ning Cheng waved the image away and said, because I just came from Yu Clan's corner. Yu Qing asked me to deliver something to Aunt Yan, but I couldn't even enter Yu Clan's corner. When Cece heard Ning Cheng's words, she excitedly grabbed Ning Cheng's hand and spoke, Senior apprentice brother Ning, did you see Sister Qing? Is Sister Qing alright? Ning Cheng's tone turned downcast, I'm sorry, Cece. I also entered the Time Wilderness once and met Yu Qing in the Time Wilderness. She left behind a purple jade and asked me to bring it to her mother. After Cece heard Ning Cheng's words, she put down her hand in a daze. She didn't know how difficult it would be to enter the time wilderness again. She only knew that since Sister Qing could enter, then Ning Cheng could also enter. After a while, she murmured, "No wonder you can come here. I asked Ai Ku to stay in Yu Clan's corner. I wanted to wait for Aunt Yan's friends to come looking for Aunt Yan and then ask Aunt Yan's friends to help save Aunt Yan. I didn't expect Ai Ku to bring you here." Ning Cheng clenched his fists. "Cece, you're right. Now, come with me to save Aunt Yan." "Ah." Cece looked at Ning Cheng in disbelief. "What did you say?" Chapter 755. Outside Yu Clan's corner, a female cultivator with a slightly longer face frowned and looked around. At this moment, a sudden voice suddenly sounded, "Are you looking for me?" "It's you." The female cultivator stared at Ning Cheng standing in front of her in shock. She had placed a spiritual consciousness imprint on Ning Cheng before, but when she tried to kill Ning Cheng, the spiritual consciousness imprint suddenly disappeared. Because her spiritual consciousness imprint disappeared, she started looking around the entrance of Yu Clan's corner. Now that she heard Ning Cheng's voice, she suddenly realized that she didn't know that Ning Cheng had appeared in front of her. Not only did she not know that Ning Cheng had appeared in front of her, but she also didn't know that Cece and Ai Ku, who followed behind Ning Cheng, had arrived. "How did you end up here?" The female cultivator looked at Ning Cheng in even more surprise. Unless his cultivation was much higher than hers, how could he come to this place without her noticing? Also, where did her spiritual consciousness imprint go? She would never believe that Ning Cheng could remove her spiritual consciousness imprint without anyone noticing. As for Cece and Ai Ku, they weren't even ants. "You should be Bao Lingling, right? I guess you must have been looking for this." While talking, Ning Cheng raised his hand and grabbed the spiritual consciousness imprint sealed in a low-level talisman before throwing it to Bao Lingling. After Bao Lingling caught the talisman, she felt her spiritual consciousness imprint inside. Someone had truly sealed her spiritual consciousness imprint. At this moment, she felt flustered and didn't dare to scold Ning Cheng for a while. Ning Cheng took a few steps forward, and Bao Lingling subconsciously stepped back. "Let me tell you one more thing. My name is Ning Cheng, and I forcibly broke open Yu Clan's corner's defensive array." After Ning Cheng stared at Bao Lingling and spoke those words, he punched the base of Yu Clan's corner's defensive array. Catcha, with just one punch, Ning Cheng directly opened a crack in Yu Clan's corner's defensive array. Ning Cheng was an array emperor who could arrange Starry Sky Grade 9 array formations. Therefore, in the face of Yu Clan's corner's defensive array, which was barely a Starry Sky Grade 8, Ning Cheng didn't need much effort to break it open. Bao Lingling subconsciously shuddered. Ning Cheng's punch made it clear to her that she wasn't Ning Cheng's opponent. Yu Clan's corner's array entrance was clearly open, yet Ning Cheng still wanted to forcibly break open the defensive array. Apparently, he came here to seek revenge. Just by looking at Cece behind Ning Cheng, Bao Lingling understood why Ning Cheng came here for revenge. Boom boom boom. Ning Cheng simply did not care about Bao Lingling at the side, and forcibly continued to throw out a few punches. Raging celestial essence accompanied Ning Cheng's fists and slammed into the array base of Yu Clan's corner's defensive array over and over again. As the celestial essence power continued to spread out, the cracking sounds coming from Yu Clan's corner's defensive array grew louder and louder. Ka-ka-ka. Ka-cha. As Ning Cheng's last punch fell, celestial essence exploded, and the precious defensive array protecting Yu Clan's corner also exploded. Yu Clan's corner, which was originally hidden in Yu Clan's corner, was clearly revealed at this moment. Stop! Almost at the same time that Ning Cheng blasted open the defensive array around Yu Clan's corner, Bao Lingling reacted and asked Ning Cheng to stop. It was just that she called out too late. In fact, even if she did not call out too late, Ning Cheng would not have stopped. Bao Lingling looked at Ning Cheng in horror. If she tried to break this defensive array, she would not have been able to open it even after a few days and nights. But this cultivator named Ning Qing in front of her, who had blasted open the defensive array with just a few punches, was simply too terrifying. He definitely was an eternal-level powerhouse. Wait, Ning Qing, this name sounds a bit familiar. Swish swish. Dozens of shadows rushed out from Yu Clan's corner like lightning. Someone blasted open the defensive array around Yu Clan's corner, which naturally alarmed all the experts present. Which rat dares to behave atrociously in my Yu Clan's corner? Before the people arrived, angry curses had already arrived. Cece, who followed behind Ning Qing, felt even more stunned. The reason why she dared to follow Ning Qing here was not because Ning Qing persuaded her. It was because Ning Qing said that he had a way to sneak into Yu Clan's corner. He could even hide his body and then find Aunt Yen to rescue her. But what did Ning Qing's method of breaking open the defensive array have to do with sneaking into Yu Clan's corner? It was simply courting death. What puzzled Cece was how Ning Qing could blast open the defensive array around Yu Clan's corner with just a few punches. Coming from Yu Clan's corner, she naturally knew about the power of Yu Clan's corner's defensive array. You're the rat. If you anger this grandpa bull will swallow your entire Yu Clan's corner in one bite. Chasing Bull loved this kind of scolding the most. Several cultivators who were about to rush up stopped by a handsome middle-aged male cultivator. This middle-aged male cultivator walked up to Ning Qing and looked at Ning Qing from head to toe before speaking with cupped fists. This cultivator is Yu Baihong. My Yu Clan's corner doesn't seem to have anything to do with this Dao friend. So, why did this Dao friend break my Yu Clan's defensive array for no reason? If Ning Qing hadn't destroyed the defensive array around Yu Clan's corner in just a few moves, he would have already called for people to take action. Why would he wait until now? Ning Qing could tell at a glance that this handsome middle-aged male cultivator had the highest cultivation here, at the early stage Eternal Realm. Moreover, it seemed that he had advanced not too long ago. Ning Qing spoke up with a calm voice, I'm a friend of Yu Qing's, and I came here to look for Yu Qing's mother, Shen Mengyan. Yet, Yu Clan's corner doesn't allow me to enter and even spoke rudely to me. I don't feel good about it. Shen Mengyan and Yu Qing, that mother-daughter pair of dogs, don't deserve to be in my Yu Clan's corner. Ning Qing had just finished when a sharp voice erupted. However, the voice didn't finish his sentence. He stopped abruptly halfway through his sentence. Everyone stared at Ning Qing's hand in horror. Ning Qing's hand was currently squeezing the neck of a male cultivator in brocaded robes. The male cultivator's legs kept kicking as if Ning Qing didn't let go of him. It felt as if he would die if Ning Qing didn't let go of him. At this moment, the entire scene turned silent. Everyone in Yu Clan knew that the male cultivator in brocaded robes held by Ning Qing was called Yu Xingsheng, a heaven-seated powerhouse of Yu Clan. Not to mention a heaven-seated cultivator, even if someone grabbed the neck of an ordinary cultivator, it wouldn't cause such a suffocating situation. But now, Yu Xingsheng, a heaven-seated cultivator, felt like he was suffocating. Yu Baihong felt even more dumbfounded. This young man in front of him could easily blast open the defensive array around Yu Clan's corner. This in itself showed that this young man had amazing cultivation. Because of this, Yu Baihong didn't act immediately. But now that Ning Qing had easily grabbed Yu Xingsheng's neck, it showed that Ning Qing's cultivation was far above what he had guessed. Even he couldn't compare to him. Dao friend, please stop. Yu Baihong suppressed the shock in his heart and called out. He knew that if Ning Qing didn't let go, Yu Xingsheng would die. Ning Qing glanced at Yu Baihong and threw out Yu Xingsheng. Yu Baihong immediately felt relieved. But before he could speak, Ning Qing threw out a fireball in his hand the next moment. The moment Yu Xingsheng cursed at Yu Qing, he had already become a dead man in Ning Qing's eyes. The fireball instantly wrapped around Yu Xingsheng, who Ning Qing had thrown out, and Yu Xingsheng's screams erupted from the flames. A burnt smell spread out, and everyone felt a chill in their hearts. They knew that Yu Xingxian was finished. Someone had burned him in front of all the experts of Yu Clan's corner. The moment Bao Lingling saw Ning Qing burn Yu Xingxian, she finally remembered Ning Cheng's name. This was Striking Order Starland's powerhouse, mysterious Yellow Sect Master Ning Cheng. This Ning Cheng was extremely fierce. He didn't even put Chuan Xinlo and the endless void docks in his eyes. So how could he put a puny Yu Clan's corner in his eyes? "I'm going to kill you." A violent voice came from afar, and it seemed as if someone was about to rush over. After Bao Lingling realized Ning Cheng's identity, she immediately panicked. When she saw the person approaching, she quickly rushed over and tried to stop him. "Lingling, let go of me. That beast killed my brother Xingxian." The man's face almost burned with anger. Slap. Bao Lingling slapped the man's face and spoke up in anger, "Yu Xingxian, listen to me. Yu Xingxian deserved to die." Bao Lingling. Yu Xingxian roared in anger. He was an early-stage life and death expert and had control over the cultivation resources of Yu Clan's corner. Now that his Dao companion, Bao Lingling, slapped him in the face, did he still have any face left? Originally, Bao Lingling and her elder sister Bao Inga both served leveled Heart Emperor Mountain's Ji Lei at the same time, which made him unhappy. But now Bao Lingling even dared to attack him in public, hindering him from avenging his brother. How could he endure it? In anger, he raised his hand and punched Bao Lingling in the chest. Bao Lingling spat out a few mouthfuls of blood and looked at Yu Xingxian in disbelief. She was caught off guard, and Yu Xingxian's cultivation was much higher than hers. Yu Xingxian's punch had shattered her dantian and meridians, causing her to lose all her cultivation. For Yu Xingxian, she could even serve other men, yet in the end, she ended up ruined by Yu Xingxian's hands. Ning Qing didn't care about Bao Lingling and Yu Xingxian at all and took another step forward. Yu Baihong threw Bao Lingling aside and stared at Ning Qing. As soon as Ning Qing moved, he immediately moved. However, Ning Cheng's powerful celestial river domain crushed out and directly sealed his domain. Not waiting for him to make any adjustments, Ning Cheng had already flashed past him. Yu Xingxian didn't even have time to resist before he found it difficult to breathe. The powerful domain's imposing aura made him feel like he was about to die. Bang! Ning Cheng casually walked over and kicked Yu Xingxian in the chest. Yu Xingxian didn't even have the ability to resist. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of internal organs. The next moment, his body turned into a leaky sieve, and endless celestial essence leaked out crazily. His cultivation, like Bao Lingling, also turned into nothingness. After a few breaths, Yu Xingxian looked at Ning Cheng in horror. His dantian had shattered, and his cultivation had been crippled by a single kick. The experts from Yu Clan, who had rushed out, all remained silent and looked at Ning Cheng in horror. At this moment, no one came forward. Ning Cheng's strength made them realize that even if they went up, they would only end up dead in seconds. Yu Baihong felt even more terrified. This young cultivator not only shattered Yu Clan's corner's defensive array with a few punches, but he also killed a middle-stage heaven-seated expert and an early-stage life and death expert in front of him. If he had died in a fight, it would have given him some confidence. But this fellow had only taken a few steps and stretched out his hand. How did Yu Clan's corner end up with such a strong enemy? Chapter 756. Facing an unknown and powerful cultivator like Ning Cheng, even if he killed two experts from Yu Clan's corner, Yu Baihong didn't dare to fight at will. Just when Yu Baihong was in a dilemma, a brilliance quickly approached and landed in front of Yu Clan's corner in just a few breaths. It was an airship-type weapon, and after the weapon landed, someone put it away. Then, three people walked over. The one walking in front was a middle-aged Confucian scholar with a long beard that reached his chest and a trace of scholarly aura. Ning Qing recognized this person, Sect Master Qing Xingwen of Spiritual Heaven Sect. He had gone to Jiangzhou stars-covered snow city with Chuan Xinlo. Chen Xingwen's cultivation was already at the late-stage eternal realm, which made even Ning Qing feel some fear. Ning Qing also recognized the male cultivator behind Chen Xingwen. His name was Xiao Yu, a genius through and through. When Ning Qing saw him this time, he had already reached the full circle of heaven's mandate realm. From this, Ning Qing understood that he would be able to break through to the heaven-seated realm in just a short time. With spiritual heaven sex wealth, Xiao Yu naturally didn't need to look for cultivation resources like Ning Qing did to break through to the heaven-seated realm. Ning Qing also felt some admiration in his heart. If he didn't have the mysterious yellow bead, not to mention surpassing Xiao Yu, he probably wouldn't even be able to see his back. The other female cultivator standing behind Chen Xingwen was also in heaven's mandate realm. Wearing a light red dress, with long hair draped over her shoulders, she exuded a hint of ethereal arrogance. Ning Qing felt sure that this female cultivator's qualifications weren't any lower than Xiao Yu's. Therefore, she exuded an ethereal aura of an immortal. At the same time, she also exuded an air of arrogance. It felt as if apart from her and Chen Xingwen, everyone else around her was just air. Ning Cheng's gaze swept over the female cultivator's face and couldn't help but praise her in his heart. This female cultivator indeed had the capital to be arrogant. Her crescent moon-like eyebrows combined with her delicate face made her look very pleasing to the eye. If it weren't for the fact that her face didn't show any fluctuations and even had a hint of arrogance, it would have attracted even more attention. So it's Sect Master Ning. Since Sect Master Ning has come to Culmination Starland, you must come visit my spiritual heaven sect. Chen Xingwen had just landed and an enthusiastic voice arrived. Ning Qing cupped his fists. Sect Master Chen, nice to meet you. As for going to the Ling Xiao sect, he had never thought about it. He and Chen Xingwen were not familiar with each other to that extent. On the surface, Chen Xingwen had gone to congratulate the mysterious yellow sect on the opening ceremony, but in fact, he didn't even send any gifts. It simply showed that he didn't have any good intentions. It's just that Song Caihe joined the mysterious yellow sect, while striking order and Wu Hong helped Ning Qing. As such, Chuan Xinlo couldn't do anything. Yu Baihong quickly stepped forward and saluted Chen Xingwen. Sect Master Chen has graced us with your presence. My Yu clan's corner was unable to welcome you from afar. It was truly impolite of us. Chen Xingwen chuckled. Brother Yu is too polite. When Yu Baihong heard that Chen Xingwen had only spoken half a sentence, he immediately felt a bad premonition in his heart. He had a hunch that Chen Xingwen came here to seek help from Yu clan's corner. Now that this person didn't even ask for help, it meant that it was all because of this Sect Master Ning. Chen Xingwen felt afraid that this Sect Master Ning had a deep enmity with Yu clan's corner. Therefore, he didn't want to have anything to do with Yu clan's corner. Yu Baihong quickly came to this conclusion. After all, the defensive array here had been destroyed, and Yu Xingxian's cultivation base had been crippled. Yu Baihong quickly spoke up. Sect Master Chen, Sect Master Ning, please take a seat inside. At the same time, he sent a sound transmission to Chen Xingwen. Sect Master Chen, I don't know this Sect Master Ning at all. Yet, he came to my Yu clan's corner and started a massacre. May I ask Sect Master Chen, what is his origin? Chen Xingwen looked at Yu Baihong in surprise. He had thought that Ning Cheng and Yu clan's corner would definitely know each other. Unexpectedly, Yu Baihong didn't know about Ning Cheng's origin. Chen Xingwen smiled and said, by the way, let me introduce you. This is mysterious yellow Sect Master Ning Cheng. Sect Master Ning, since Brother Yu invited you, why don't you come in and sit down? Although Yu Baihong had been in seclusion, it didn't mean that he didn't care about anything. Ning Cheng had destroyed named Descendant Celestial River King, taken away named Descendant Celestial River, and renamed it Mysterious Yellow Celestial River. At the same time, he established the mysterious yellow sect in mysterious yellow celestial river's Jiangzhou star and declared that the mysterious yellow sect was independent from grand culmination starry sky. How could he not know about such a thing? Now that Yu Baihong heard that the young sect master in front of him was Ning Cheng, it immediately felt as if a pot of ice water had been poured over his heart. Ning Cheng didn't even put Chuan Xinlo and Endless Void Doc's Doc Master Gua Sangan in his eyes. What was his Yu clan's corner worth? In other words, if this person raised his hand and destroyed Yu clan's corner, he, Yu Baihong, could only watch helplessly. Who would dare to separate a celestial river from the grand starry sky? He had only heard of Ning Cheng, right? Even if he knew that Chuan Xinlo wouldn't let go of Ning Cheng, wasn't Ning Cheng still alive and well? However, he heard that Chuan Xinlo had gone to the ancient Shadow Temple and hadn't come out yet. By the way, wasn't the ancient Shadow Temple located in stately River Star? That place was also Ning Cheng's territory, could it be? Yu Baihong didn't dare to think about it. He knew that even if he and Chen Xingwen had a close relationship, Chen Xingwen wouldn't move the stone and smash it on spiritual heaven sect's foot. In other words, Chen Xingwen would never help his Yu clan's corner. Even Chen Xingwen didn't want to offend this person, as long as his Yu clan's corner wasn't stupid, they would never offend him. Yu Baihong quickly lowered his posture and respectfully cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng. Sect Master Ning, please come in. I was in seclusion before this. The servants of Yu clan's corner had eyes but failed to see. I, Yu Baihong, would like to apologize to Brother Ning here. Almost all of the Yu clan's cultivators who rushed out, as long as they were above heaven-seated realm, had heard of Ning Cheng's name. But now that they heard that Ning Cheng, the death god who directly snatched away a celestial river, had come to Yu clan's corner, how could they dare to speak any nonsense? Yu Baihong's attitude didn't change anything. Yu Xingxian, who had his cultivation abolished, turned even paler, and his heart felt like it had died. He knew that he would never be able to take revenge in this life. Cece's cultivation was too low, so she naturally didn't know about Ning Cheng's prestige. However, she knew about Yu Baihong and Chen Xingwen. Especially Chen Xingwen of Spiritual Heaven Sect, a legendary powerhouse. Yet, he still treated Ning Cheng with such politeness. How could Ning Cheng's strength reach such a level? Sister Qing truly had a good eye, but Sister Qing, alas, Cece's thoughts quickly turned to Aunt Yan, and she quickly stepped forward and said, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, let's hurry and save Aunt Yan. Ning Cheng patted Cece's shoulder and was about to speak when Yu Baihong took the initiative to speak. Is Sect Master Ning a friend of Qing, Ning Cheng didn't bother to build a relationship with Yu Baihong and spoke without any warmth. Where is Shen Mengyan? Take me to her now. Yu Baihong didn't dare to attack Ning Cheng. Instead, he turned around and stared at Yu Xingxian with cold eyes. He then spoke with an icy tone, where did junior apprentice Sister Mengyan go? Yu Xingxian had long since lost the will to live, and his eyes were blank. He didn't answer Yu Baihong's words at all. Bao Lingling, who had fallen to the ground, struggled to get up and pointed at Yu Xingxian with a stern voice. It's him. He used us sisters to please other men. He also used us sisters to snatch Shen Mengyan's essence chi praying mat and imprison Shen Mengyan in Yu clan's water prison. If not for a purple jade, he would have already killed Shen Mengyan. After Bao Lingling finished speaking, she raised her hand and slapped it on her glabella. Her cultivation had been crippled, but she could still shatter her primordial spirit to commit suicide. Ning Cheng reached out and grabbed Yu Xingxian's ring. Using his spiritual consciousness, he easily broke the restrictions on Yu Xingxian's ring. Inside the ring were piles of spiritual grasses and materials, as well as piles of perpetual moon pills, which made Ning Cheng marvel at Yu Xingxian's wealth. Ning Cheng quickly found a praying mat inside the ring. This praying mat looked exactly the same as the praying mat he obtained in the Time Wilderness. This surprised Ning Cheng a lot. He decided to study it when he had the time to find out what was going on. Seeing Ning Cheng grab the ring, Yu Baihong didn't wait for Ning Qing to start again. He raised his hand and a cluster of flames fell on Yu Xingxian's body. Yu Xingxian and Yu Xingxing were two brothers, one in the heaven-seated realm and the other in the life and death realm. Both of them were of great help to Yu clan's corner. Therefore, he treated Yu Xingxian and Yu Xingxing very generously and valued them a lot. Yu Qing had fallen, and Yu Qing's master, Li Lan, had also fallen. But even he didn't expect that Yu Xingxian would dare to throw Shen Mengyan into the water prison. Yu Xingxian could only watch as the flames swallowed him up. He couldn't even scream. He had thought that with his control over the cultivation resources of Yu clan's corner and the essence chi praying mat, he would one day advance to the eternal realm. What he didn't expect was that someone would come knocking on his door when he was only at the early stage life and death realm. Moreover, Yu Baihong had killed him with his own hands under someone else's powerful suppression. Ning Qing took away Yu Xingxian's ring, but Yu Baihong acted as if he didn't see it. After a cluster of flames extinguished Yu Xingxian, Yu Baihong spoke up politely to Ning Qing, "Sect Master Ning, my Yu clan's corner gate is unfortunate to have such a scandal happen. I didn't even know about it while I was in seclusion. I feel really guilty." Ning Qing snorted, "Yu Baihong, it's useless to talk about this. Hurry up and take me to the water prison." Of course, brother Ning, please." Yu Baihong quickly spoke up. At the same time, he turned to Chen Xingwen and said, "Sect Master Chen, please come with us." Chen Xingwen knew that Yu Baihong felt afraid. He feared that Ning Qing would suddenly attack his Yu clan's corner in anger. Therefore, he invited him to go with him to make Ning Qing feel a little more afraid. "Okay, let's go together." Chen Xingwen nodded. If he wanted to suppress Ning Qing, then don't even dream about it. Not to mention whether he could suppress Ning Qing or not, even if he could suppress Ning Qing, he wouldn't go against Ning Qing for Yu clan's corner. As Yu Baihong led the way, Chen Xingwen, who followed behind, suddenly smiled and said to Ning Qing, "Sect Master Ning, these two are my proudest disciples, Xiao Yu and Xiao Chunan. In the future, when they travel through the starry skies, I hope that Sect Master Ning can take care of them." Ning Qing couldn't understand why Chen Xingwen wanted to introduce these two disciples to him. Although he was younger than Xiao Yu and Xiao Chunan, he still respected strength within the starry skies. But within the starry skies, strength reigned supreme. Compared to Xiao Yu and Xiao Chunan, Ning Qing was a senior. Hearing his master's introduction, Xiao Yu quickly stepped forward and gave a salute. "Spiritual Heaven Sect Xiao Yu greets Sect Master Ning." He already knew about Ning Qing's strength. Last time at the leveled Heart Emperor Mountain, he had already seen Ning Qing go berserk. Moreover, he also knew that Ning Qing was the celestial Scryer Tower's Jiangzhou's wanderer. Therefore, even if he felt 1,000 unwilling in his heart, he didn't dare to be rude in front of Ning Qing. Compared to Xiao Yu, Xiao Chunan showed a much more indifferent attitude. She just cupped her fists and said a single sentence of greeting Sect Master Ning. Ning Qing didn't care about Xiao Chunan's attitude at all. He still cared about Shen Mengyan. Chen Xingwen, on the other hand, felt a little embarrassed. He knew what kind of person his disciple was, and he also knew what kind of person Ning Qing was. To be honest, he didn't want to offend people like Ning Qing unless it was a last resort. Chapter 757. Yu Baihong had always felt afraid of Ning Qing and always thought about how to solve the crisis facing Yu clan's corner. Therefore, he didn't think much about Chen Xingwen's words. Moreover, he also wanted to please Chen Xingwen, so he casually spoke up, "Yes, Xiao Yu and Xiao Chunan are not only the most talented disciples of the spiritual heaven sect, but even among the 4 grand starry skies, they rank among the top. It's a pity that Yu Qing doesn't have this fortune. Otherwise, Yu Qing An. You're wrong." Ning Qing interrupted Yu Baihong's words without hesitation. Yu Qing already had someone she liked when she was alive. Don't impose your will on others. Hearing Ning Qing's unhappy tone, Yu Baihong felt a chill run down his spine and instantly reacted. Since this sect master Ning came here because of Yu Qing, it meant that he had a close relationship with Yu Qing. In order to curry favor with Chen Xingwen, he had not thought of this point. Thinking of this, he almost slapped himself in the face. He really touched a sore spot. Obviously, he didn't want to anger this sect master Ning, but the moment his words came out, it made people unhappy. Xiao Yu secretly clenched his fists and lowered his head, not saying a word. Xiao Chunan looked at Xiao Yu strangely. She knew the person in Xiao Yu's heart the best, and that was Yu Qing. For the sake of Yu Qing, he was even willing to suppress his cultivation. He abolished his celestial bridge cultivation and retreated to the celestial gatherer realm. Although he also had the idea of entering the immortal Jade Star, it was not necessarily because of Yu Qing. Because Yu Qing had said that the person she liked was naturally the first in the Celestial Scryer Tower, Xiao Yu wanted to climb higher in the Celestial Scryer Tower. However, what Xiao Yu did not expect was that even if he suppressed his cultivation to the Celestial Gatherer realm, he still could not take the first place in the Celestial Scryer Tower. This was because a new powerhouse had appeared in the Celestial Scryer Tower, Jiangzhou's Wanderer. This person had rushed to the 81st floor of the Celestial Scryer Tower, an unprecedented result. Yu Baihong's words were interrupted by Ning Cheng. He couldn't change the topic for a while, causing the atmosphere to suddenly solidify. Hee hee. Chen Xingwen laughed, breaking the frozen atmosphere. He understood the meaning behind Yu Baihong's words. Although he didn't care about Yu Baihong's fawning over him, he didn't mind helping Yu Baihong out of his predicament. Not to mention, this was the reason why he had brought up two disciples. For Sect Master Ning to set foot on the 81st floor of the Celestial Scryer Tower, not only is it unprecedented, but I'm afraid that no one will be able to do it in the future. It had not been many years since Sect Master Ning ascended the Celestial Scryer Tower, yet he had already become a Sect Master and an eternal-level powerhouse. I, Chen Xingwen, have never admired anyone, but elder brother Ning is the first person that I admire. Chen Xingwen warmly praised Ning Cheng. Chen Xingwen did not have a clear understanding of Ning Cheng's cultivation. Although he said that Ning Cheng did not have a celestial wheel, he did sometimes have a celestial wheel looming behind him. If he said that Ning Cheng had a celestial wheel, then Ning Cheng's celestial wheel was blurry and indistinct. Ning Cheng could make friends with Striking Order, make Starry Sky's premier pill Emperor Tsang Tsaiha submit to him, and even make Chuan Xinlo feel some fear, which meant that his cultivation naturally wasn't bad. Therefore, he always thought that Ning Cheng was also an eternal-level powerhouse. Ning Cheng's heart remained calm and even showed a flat expression towards Chen Xingwen's praise. He didn't even bother to speak. He really didn't like Chen Xingwen's hypocrisy. If Chen Xingwen truly admired him, he would not have gone to Covered Snow City with Chuan Xinlo to find trouble with him. Xiao Chunan looked at Xiao Yu in shock. After a few breaths, she whispered to Xiao Yu, senior apprentice brother Xiao Yu, is this sect master Ning Cheng the Jiangzhou's Wanderer, the Wanderer who climbed to the 81st floor of the Celestial Scryer Tower? She had long admired Jiangzhou's Wanderer and even wanted to have a face-to-face conversation with this Wanderer. She had also been to the Celestial Scryer Tower before and knew how difficult it was to reach the top floor of the Celestial Scryer Tower. Because of this, she kept thinking about this Jiangzhou's Wanderer and wanted to see what kind of person could have such amazing talent. However, her cultivation was too low. Moreover, she didn't like to gossip and had always been in secluded cultivation. Therefore, she had no idea that Ning Cheng was Jiangzhou's Wanderer. Xiao Yu felt an inexplicable sense of awkwardness in his heart. If Ning Cheng were also a Heaven's Mandate powerhouse, he might have challenged Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was an eternal powerhouse. He didn't even have the qualifications to talk to him, or rather, he didn't even have the qualifications to feel jealous. Now that Xiao Chunan asked, he could only nod and say, yes, he is Jiangzhou's Wanderer. Xiao Chuanan's eyes lit up and stared at Ning Cheng for the first time. Not only did he climb to the 81st floor of the celestial Scryer Tower, but he also became an eternal powerhouse in just a few years. No one in the entire culmination Grand Starry Sky had ever heard of such a genius. Chen Xingwen didn't seem to care about Ning Cheng's indifference and still spoke with a smile. Sect Master Ning still doesn't have a Tao companion. Although Chuanan's cultivation is a bit weak, she is almost at the heaven-seated realm. Chen Xingwen's words had not yet been spoken, but everyone understood what Chen Xingwen meant. That is, Chen Xingwen wanted to bring Xiao Chunan and Ning Cheng together and make Xiao Chunan Ning Cheng's Tao companion. Yu Baihong secretly cursed in his heart. Since Ning Cheng came here for Yu Qing, it meant that he had a close relationship with Yu Qing. Maybe Yu Qing was Ning Cheng's Tao companion. Yu Baihong didn't think of finding a woman from Yu clan to replace Yu Qing. Instead, he said something that made Ning Cheng unhappy. Xiao Chunan was indeed beautiful and had first-class qualifications. However, Yu clan's women also weren't bad. Yu clan's men had always been handsome, and their women had always been beautiful. It was a well-known fact throughout Culmination Starland. Unfortunately, Chen Xingwen had spoken a step ahead of him. At this time, he naturally couldn't say the same words as Chen Xingwen. Xiao Chunan froze. She didn't expect Sect Master Ning to suddenly introduce her to a Tao companion. If she hadn't known that Ning Cheng was Jiangzhou's wanderer, she would have refused without hesitation. Even if Sect Master Ning proposed it, she would have found an excuse to refuse it. But now, she couldn't figure out whether to refuse it or to get in touch with Sect Master Ning. The name of Jiangzhou's wanderer had lingered in her mind for many years. But now, not only did he appear in front of her, but Sect Master Ning even proposed a marriage for her. This huge impact made it impossible for her to make a decision in such a short time. Ning Cheng spoke up calmly, "Many thanks for Sect Master Chen's concern, but I already have a wife. We've arrived at the water prison." After Ning Cheng finished speaking, Yu Baihong quickly spoke up. After saying this, he immediately called out, "Hurry up and open the water prison for me." Yu Baihong felt angry in his heart. No one had come here in advance to release Shen Mengyan and take good care of her. He thought that he didn't need to say anything at all. After Yu clan saw his attitude towards Ning Cheng, they would naturally send someone to release Shen Mengyan in advance. But in fact, not only did no one come out in advance, but the water prison's door didn't even open. Yu clan's experts usually stayed in secluded cultivation. Plus, Ning Cheng's imposing aura suppressed them. Moreover, Yu Xingxing was in charge of places like the water prison. Now that Ning Cheng killed Yu Xingxing, Yu clan's people couldn't adapt to it for a while. No need. Ning Cheng gave a cold snort and punched out. The water prison's restrictions were much weaker than the ones outside. With just one punch, Ning Cheng completely shattered the water prison's restrictions. Yu Baihong's expression turned a little ugly. Ning Cheng didn't even give him half a face. However, he thought that Ning Cheng could even destroy Yu clan's corner's defensive array. Why would he care about a water prison? He could only hide the ugly expression on his face. Ning Cheng stepped into the water prison. Yu clan's water prison didn't hold many people, and Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness blades didn't show any mercy in this place. The spiritual consciousness restrictions in the water prison made a series of cracking sounds as Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness blades smashed them into a mess. The Yu clan's cultivators in Yu clan's corner all had angry expressions on their faces. But even Yu Baihong didn't dare to speak. No matter how angry they felt, they didn't dare to stand up and point out Ning Cheng's wrongdoings. Chen Xingwen's expression remained calm, not showing the slightest bit of embarrassment from Ning Cheng's rejection. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness went all the way, and after just a few breaths, his expression changed. Then, with a flash, he disappeared from the water prison's entrance. In the deepest part of the water prison, a white-haired woman was chained to a brown pillar. The water prison exuded an unpleasant smell that made people want to vomit. This woman's knees were submerged in water, and one could even see her white bones from afar. The woman's head drooped, and her white hair covered her face. But Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness instantly recognized that this person must be Shen Mengyan. She looked almost 90% similar to Yu Qing. At this time, apart from the white bones submerged in water, Shen Mengyan's body was also covered in blood. Her clothes looked just like a rag, hanging on her dark skin. Yu Baihong and Chen Xingwen, who followed behind Ning Cheng, also saw this scene. Yu Baihong's expression changed drastically. He didn't expect Yu Xingxian to be so bold as to imprison Shen Mengyan in the water prison. If he knew about this, even if Ning Cheng didn't come, he would never have allowed Yu Xingxian to torture Shen Mengyan like this. No matter what, Shen Mengyan was also a member of Yu clan's corner. Ning Cheng rushed to the top of the water prison and raised his hand, sending out several flame blades. The celestial river flame had already evolved to a grade 5 starry sky flame, and it easily cut through the chains binding Shen Mengyan. Ning Cheng held Shen Mengyan in his arms, took out a piece of clothing and put it on Shen Mengyan's body. At the same time, he punched out. Boom! The brown pillar locking Shen Mengyan directly turned to dust under Ning Cheng's punch. But Ning Cheng didn't stop there. Instead, he kept punching out. The entire water prison looked as if someone had dug out its foundation, and the rumbling sounds continued without end. Cici and Ai Ku were directly thrown out by Ning Cheng, and even the few prisoners in the water prison were also thrown out by Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's meaning was too obvious. Chen Xingwen shook his head and rushed out of the water prison with his 2 disciples. Yu Baihong looked as if he had aged a few decades and had no choice but to withdraw from the water prison. He understood Ning Cheng's meaning. He wanted to move forward and destroy this place. As everyone withdrew, Ning Cheng blasted this water prison, which had existed for God knows how many years, into ruins. Sect Master Ning, this matter is the misfortune of my Yu clan. I didn't expect Yu Xingxian and Yu Xingxian to be so bold. Yu Baihong came to Ning Cheng and spoke with cupped fists. Ning Cheng glanced at Yu Baihong with cold eyes and spoke with an indifferent tone, do you think your Yu clan's corner can still exist? You think too highly of yourself. Yu Baihong shuddered, and a deep chill rose from the bottom of his heart. Chapter 758. How many generations of Yu family had spent so much effort to establish Yu clan's corner? Ning Cheng's words clearly indicated that he wanted to completely destroy the Yu clan's corner established by Yu clan, just like the water prison. Without Yu clan's corner, Yu clan's strength would drop by half. Even if Ning Cheng didn't kill a single person from Yu clan wouldn't have the qualifications to remain in Culmination Starland. If the Yu clan left Culmination Starland, it would be nothing. Relying on him, an eternal cultivator? What a joke. He wasn't qualified to learn from Ning Cheng and snatch any planet. The Yu family would immediately collapse and disappear into the boundless starry sky. Aunt Yen. Seeing Shen Mengyan's miserable appearance, Cici rushed over and hugged Shen Mengyan. Shen Mengyan was not only Yu Qing's mother but also Cici's mother. Iku was also constantly wiping away his tears. Yu Baihong knew that it was too late to say anything at this time. It was useless. He took out a jade bottle and said, Sect Master Ning, this is a golden crow clear void pill. Let's quickly wake Mengyan up. The golden crow clear void pill was a starry sky grade 7 healing medicinal pill. Even for eternal level powerhouses, it was a top grade healing medicinal pill. After all, there were very few alchemy emperors in the universe who could refine tier 7 pills. It wasn't easy for Yu Baihong to take out the golden crow purging void pill. Chen Xingwen suddenly spoke up from the side, Sect Master Ning himself is a starry sky grade 8 pill emperor. Moreover, mysterious yellow sect's deputy sect master Tsang Saiha is a starry sky grade 9 pill emperor. Brother Yu, please take back the medicinal pill. Sect Master Ning should have a better medicinal pill. Ning Cheng naturally would not accept a trivial golden crow clear void pill. He looked at Yu Baihong and spoke with a calm voice, I'm going to heal Aunt Yen now. As for the fate of Yu Clan's corner, Aunt Yen will see it with her own eyes. After that, Ning Cheng said to Cece, Cece, come in with me. Seeing Ning Cheng bring out an immortal abode-type artifact and then go in, Yu Baihong felt relieved in his heart. As long as Shen Mengyan woke up, she would definitely ask Ning Cheng to spare Yu Clan's corner for the sake of their old relationship. What he feared the most was that Ning Cheng would take action now. That way, Shen Mengyan wouldn't even have the chance to plead for mercy. Chen Xingwen on seeing Ning Cheng go in sent a sound transmission to Xiao Chunan, this sect master Ning is a rogue cultivator. But for him to cultivate to this point, it shows that he is extraordinary. I wanted to find you someone to rely on, so I didn't tell you in advance. You won't blame me, right? Xiao Chunan hurriedly sent a voice transmission, this disciple doesn't dare. This disciple believes that I can also advance to the eternal realm in the future. I don't need to rely on anyone, so I don't need to care about others. Chen Xingwen sighed in his heart. If Ning Cheng were just an eternal level cultivator, he wouldn't have fancied him so much. In fact, Ning Cheng wasn't just an eternal cultivator, but an eternal cultivator that even Chuan Xinluo feared. Chuan Xinluo felt fear, and he naturally felt the same. One had to know that he was a late-stage eternal powerhouse. In grand culmination Starry Sky, even Chuan Xinluo had to give him some face. Ning Cheng brought Cece into the cave and placed Shen Mengyan flat on the bed. He then took out several medicinal pills and put them into Shen Mengyan's mouth. Cece's eyes turned red and asked with some worry, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, Aunt Yen looks like she has some serious injuries. Ning Cheng comforted her, Cece, you don't have to worry. I happen to have something to help Aunt Yen recover from her injuries. Aunt Yen will be fine. Shen Mengyan's essence spirit and celestial essence had both been sealed up. Moreover, under the effects of the toxin that poisoned one's essence spirit, her essence spirit had already started to dissipate, and her corporeal body was on the verge of collapse. Ordinary cultivators would find it difficult to detoxify this kind of poison that could harm one's essence spirit and soul. However, Ning Cheng had the rootless green bamboo's bamboo leaves, glimmer of dawn ice essence, and a large number of Starry Sky grade 7 and grade 8 healing medicinal pills. As such, it wouldn't be difficult for Shen Mengyan to recover. The medicinal pills Ning Cheng fed Shen Mengyan's mouth quickly played a role, and layers of filth started to ooze out of Shen Mengyan's body. Shen Mengyan's dark skin also gradually recovered. Even Cece, who stood on the side, could feel Shen Mengyan's aura growing stronger. After Shen Mengyan's aura returned to normal, Ning Cheng took out a rootless green bamboo leaf and a drop of glimmer of dawn ice essence and put them into Shen Mengyan's mouth. Then, he said to Cece, Cece, take Aunt Yen into the room inside. When Aunt Yen wakes up, help Aunt Yen clean up and change into a new set of clothes. Shen Mengyan's injuries were too severe, and her essence spirit was unstable. Even if Ning Cheng used so many good things, it wouldn't be possible to restore her full strength at once. Unless he helped Shen Mengyan expel the poison from her essence spirit and then used his origin to help Shen Mengyan stabilize her condition. If Shen Mengyan weren't Yuqing's mother, Ning Cheng might have done this. Although he and Yuqing didn't have any relationship, Ning Cheng had already regarded Shen Mengyan as an elder in his heart. If he helped Shen Mengyan expel the poison and then used his origin to nourish her, it would be equivalent to looking at Shen Mengyan's entire body. It wouldn't be appropriate. The first person Shen Mengyan saw when she opened her eyes was Cece. She even thought that she was still in the water prison and asked in surprise, Cece, why are you here? Shen Mengyan quickly understood that this wasn't a water prison, but a room. She didn't have any clothes on her at all, and her entire body was covered in layers of dirt. Cece was currently helping her clean it up. Aunt Yen, you woke up. Cece called out in surprise. Ning Cheng had actually helped Aunt Yen wake up. This isn't a water prison, my legs. Shen Mengyan knew that the vicious essence spirit poison had corroded her legs. Moreover, this kind of poison, which could corrode one's essence spirit, made it extremely difficult to recover after corroding one's flesh. Even an eternal cultivator wouldn't be able to regrow a severed limb in a short time without top-grade treasures. Cece, did you save me? Shen Mengyan finally understood. Cece wiped her red and swollen eyes. Aunt Yen, I didn't save you. I'm useless, and my cultivation is too low. It's senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng. Senior apprentice brother Ning saved you. Who's Ning Cheng? Shen Mengyan quickly asked. Senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng, it's that wanderer. Cece replied. Shen Mengyan grabbed Cece's hand and spoke with an anxious tone, you mean the wanderer that Qing went to look for? Didn't he not come out of the time wilderness? What the hell is going on? After learning that her daughter had gone to look for an ordinary cultivator named Wanderer and died, Shen Mengyan didn't have a good impression of this wanderer. If it weren't for him, her daughter wouldn't have met with such an accident. Cece didn't dare to hide anything. She hurriedly told him the whole story. After Shen Mengyan heard it, she let go of Cece's hand. She suddenly understood why Qing couldn't forget this wanderer. 2 hours later, Shen Mengyan and Cece came out from inside. Ning Cheng froze for a moment when he saw Shen Mengyan. After restoring her appearance, Shen Mengyan looked even more similar to Yu Qing. Not only was her skin snow white, but even her hair had turned black. With the help of Ning Cheng's medicinal pills and top-grade spiritual objects, Cece, who stood next to her, looked a few years older than Shen Mengyan. If Shen Mengyan stood next to Yu Qing today, she wouldn't be able to tell who was the elder sister and who was the younger sister, let alone distinguish the mother-daughter relationship. Thinking about Yu Qing dying for him, Ning Cheng felt a trace of guilt when he saw Shen Mengyan. You're Ning Cheng. Qing's friend. Shen Mengyan looked at Ning Cheng standing in front of her in surprise. Because Ning Cheng looked too young, so young that she couldn't believe it. Although Shen Mengyan only had a celestial novice cultivation, she was still a heaven-seated cultivator. Although she was still a celestial novice cultivator, she had yet to fully recover her strength. Once the toxins in her body were completely removed, her strength would return to the heaven-seated realm. Yes, I'm Ning Cheng. Greetings, Aunt Yen. Ning Cheng gave a respectful salute. Shen Mengyan stepped forward and took Ning Cheng's hand, you're the person Qing likes. Don't be so formal with me. If you hadn't come to save me this time, I'm afraid I would have already fallen. After a pause, Shen Mengyan continued, when I heard that Qing died in the time wilderness because of you, I didn't like you. But after seeing you, I understood why Qing likes you. You're a good person. She didn't think that Ning Cheng was a good person because he saved her life, but because she felt that Ning Cheng was a good person. This feeling couldn't be expressed in words, it was just a kind of intuition. Ning Cheng quickly took out the purple moon-shaped jade talisman and handed it to Shen Mengyan, Aunt Yan, this is what Qing left behind. Ning Cheng unconsciously followed Shen Mengyan's way of addressing Yu Qing as Qing. He didn't even realize it. Shen Mengyan took the jade talisman that Ning Cheng handed to her with trembling hands. She looked at the words left behind by Qing on the purple moon-shaped jade talisman and finally couldn't help but cry out. After that man left, she and Qing had to depend on each other. This purple moon-shaped jade talisman was something she left for her daughter. It was a treasure that surpassed Tao artifacts and could even nourish one's sea of consciousness. Not only could it help one's spiritual consciousness grow, but even if one's sea of consciousness suffered an injury, this purple moon-shaped jade talisman could slowly heal it. Now that this purple jade talisman had returned to her hands, her daughter Qing was no longer around. Aunt Yen, Qing also left behind a dress. I want to keep this dress. Ning Cheng bowed again. Shen Mengyan put the purple jade talisman in Ning Cheng's hand, you can keep it. This is something I left for Qing, Since Qing, is no longer around, and you're the one she likes, I'll leave it with you. Take good care of Qing, things. Remember to visit her on the anniversary of her death every year. I didn't die this time and figured out a lot of things. I think it's time for me to leave and go to the place I should go. Ning Qing quickly spoke up, Aunt Yan, your cultivation hasn't recovered yet. How can you leave? Cece also spoke up from the side, that's right, Aunt Yan. You only have a celestial novice cultivation. You can't leave. Shen Mengyan didn't seem to hear Ning Qing and Cece's persuasion at all. She suddenly remembered something and immediately asked, Ning Qing, how did you save me? I was imprisoned in Yu Clan's Corner's water prison. Before, Shen Mengyan felt sad for her daughter and didn't think about it. But now that she was about to leave, she suddenly thought about it. How could Ning Qing save her? Moreover, how could her injuries recover so quickly? She knew very well what kind of poison it was. It was the soul-burning declivity flower, a poison that could cause one's essence spirit to collapse and one's cultivation to decay. Chapter 759. Senior apprentice brother Ning killed Yu Xingxian and Yu Xingsheng and broke the water prison. Yu Baihong is still waiting outside for senior apprentice brother Ning to deal with him. Senior apprentice brother Ning said that he would make Yu Clan's Corner disappear. Ning Qing hadn't finished when Cece replied. Hearing Cece's words, Shen Mengyan stared at Ning Qing with wide eyes. Wasn't this too outrageous? Since Ning Qing could enter the time wilderness and become acquainted with Qing, then the highest cultivation he had would most likely be at the Celestial Gatherer realm. How many years had it been? Would Ning Qing let Yu Baihong wait for his punishment? And they want to make Yu Clan Corner disappear? Yu Baihong was currently the strongest person in Yu Clan's Corner and the second Eternal Realm expert of Yu Clan. Seeing Shen Mengyan staring at him in shock, Ning Qing spoke up, I did destroy Yu Clan's Corner's water prison. In fact, before I came in, I already warned Yu Baihong to destroy Yu Clan's Corner. Yu Baihong doesn't seem to take my words to heart. It seems that he still hasn't ordered his men to withdraw from Yu Clan's Corner. Shen Mengyan didn't continue to consider whether Ning Cheng's words were true or not and quickly walked out. After Shen Mengyan walked out of the temporary cave, the first person she saw was Yu Baihong. Almost all the cultivators in Yu Clan above the heaven-seated realm stood behind Yu Baihong. Yu Xingxian and Yu Xingsheng were really not there. Not only were the Yu Xingxian brothers not there, but the Bao sisters were also not there. Junior apprentice sister Mengyan, I, Yu Baihong, am guilty of letting such a thing happen in Yu Clan's Corner. I, Yu Baihong, am willing to accept any punishment from junior apprentice sister Mengyan. What Shen Mengyan didn't expect was that after Yu Baihong saw her, he didn't hesitate to bow and apologize. Whether in terms of cultivation or identity, Yu Baihong far surpassed her, Shen Mengyan. But now, Yu Baihong, the number one expert of the Yu family, actually took the initiative to apologize to her. Moreover, he even bowed in apology. This made her understand that Cece wasn't lying. Ning Cheng's cultivation had already reached a terrifying height, a height that even Yu Baihong, who was in the Eternal Realm, feared. Junior sister Shen, long time no see. Chen Xingwen greeted her with a smile. He looked calm on the surface, but in his heart, he was shocked that Ning City had so many good things. Shen Mengyan was poisoned by the soul-burning deciduous flower, a poisonous mist that could even cause one's essence spirit to collapse. Even he couldn't help Shen Mengyan recover in such a short time. But Ning Qing actually managed to do it. It showed that Ning Cheng's foundation was much deeper than he had imagined. Your sect master Chen. Shen Mengyan didn't expect to see Chen Xingwen here. If it wasn't for Chen Xingwen's disciple, Xiao Yu, taking a fancy to Yu Qing, she wouldn't even have the chance to get to know Chen Xingwen. But now, Chen Xingwen was waiting for her to come out. Shen Mengyan wasn't a fool. She immediately thought of Ning Qing, most likely because of Ning Cheng. Sure enough, Shen Mengyan had just thought of this when Chen Xingwen took the initiative to speak to Ning Cheng behind her. Sect Master Ning has some good means. You managed to remove 80% of the soul-burning declivity flower's poison in just 2 hours. This Chen truly admires you. If I were to encounter this kind of poison, I would definitely be helpless. In fact, if he really wanted to go all out, then it would not have taken him more than 2 hours to complete this task. In at most an hour, Ning Cheng could remove all the soul-burning deciduous flower poison from Shen Mengyan's body and restore Shen Mengyan's strength. Xiao Yu and Xiao Chunan also came over to say hello to Shen Mengyan. But what puzzled Chen Xingwen was that Xiao Chunan looked different from usual and also a lot more enthusiastic. Sect Master Ning, Yu Clan's corner has been established by Yu Clan through countless generations of painstaking efforts. As for what Yu Xingxian and Yu Xingxing did, the rest of my Yu Clan doesn't know about it. I ask Sect Master Ning to punish the culprit for junior apprentice Sister Mengyan's sake. Yu Baihong, on seeing Shen Mengyan safe and sound, felt a bit relieved. Everyone understood what Yu Baihong meant. He didn't beg for mercy, but his words were tantamount to begging for mercy. If Ning Cheng wanted to punish the culprit, then it was Yu Xingxian and his brother. Since Yu Xingxian and his brother had already been killed, they naturally didn't need to be punished. In other words, Ning Cheng wanted Ning Cheng to let go of Yu Clan's corner. Shen Mengyan felt even more convinced of Cici's words. Ning Cheng truly had the ability to raise Yu Clan's corner to the ground. She suddenly asked, where did Baoinga go? Yu Baihong knew that the only one who could help Yu Clan's corner now was Shen Mengyan. As soon as Shen Mengyan's words came out, he quickly replied, I checked Baoinga. She should have left with Ji Lei. Ji Lei's name wasn't small. He was an eternal level expert from Leveled Heart Emperor Mountain. Shen Mengyan naturally knew about him. But when she heard that Baoinga wasn't in Yu Clan's corner but had left with Ji Lei, her eyes flashed with a trace of distant memories. However, she quickly recovered and turned to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng, Yu Clan's corner is where Qin lived and where she grew up. Presumably, she doesn't want Yu Clan's corner to be destroyed. Ning Cheng also guessed Yu Baihong's intentions. Now that Shen Mengyan said so, he naturally wouldn't refuse Shen Mengyan's request. He could only play with the ring in his hand and speak, Aunt Yan, you can take care of things here. Shen Mengyan had already seen Ning Cheng's actions and felt a little amused in her heart. Ning Cheng was a very temperamental person. If he could be with Qin she would truly feel relieved. Thinking of Qin Shen Mengyan felt even more sad. Even if Ning Cheng didn't play with the ring, Yu Baihong wasn't an idiot. He had already taken out a ring and put it in Shen Mengyan's hand with both hands. Junior apprentice Sister Mengyan, Qin contributed a lot to me advancing to the eternal realm. It's just that I've been in seclusion all these years and didn't know anything about you. I've truly wronged you. Yu Baihong didn't speak nonsense. He had used up most of the time stones brought back by Yu Qin. It was also the only way he could advance to the eternal realm by comprehending the laws of time. This time, Shen Mengyan didn't stand on ceremony and took the ring. But when she saw the things inside the ring, she felt even more shocked. These things were dozens of times richer than the things in her original ring. She knew that Yu Clan was rich, but she didn't expect Yu Baihong to take out so many things. The ring that Yu Baihong took out was naturally different from Yu Xingxian's ring that Ning Cheng obtained. Although Yu Xingxian's ring contained many things, most of them were resources needed by cultivators below the heaven-seated realm. Moreover, Yu Baihong controlled all the cultivation resources needed by cultivators above the heaven-seated realm in Yu Clan's corner. Shen Mengyan's spiritual consciousness swept through the ring before turning to Yu Baihong and speaking, Senior Apprentice Sister Li Lan still has an essence qi praying mat. Where is it now? Li Lan was Shen Mengyan's senior apprentice sister, and the cause of her death was this essence qi praying mat. Now that she wanted to leave Yu Clan's corner, she naturally had to take this thing back. Since she wanted to give this thing to senior apprentice Sisterly Land's descendant, she naturally wouldn't let it go missing. Aunt Yen, the praying mat is here. Ning Qing quickly took out an ordinary one and handed it to Shen Mengyan. He originally planned to study the difference between this essence Qi praying mat and his own essence Qi praying mat. But now that Shen Mengyan mentioned it, he quickly took it out. Shen Mengyan took the praying mat and put it into the ring before saying to Ning Cheng and Cece, "Let's go." Seeing that Ning Cheng gave up on destroying Yu Clan's corner, Yu Baihong felt relieved. Now that Shen Mengyan said that they wanted to leave, he quickly spoke up, "Junior apprentice Sister Mengyan, Sect Master Ning and Sect Master Chen rarely come here. Why don't you stay in Yu Clan's corner for a while?" Although Yu Baihong couldn't wait for Ning Cheng to leave as soon as possible, he also knew that Ning Cheng was a powerhouse with a promising future. Therefore, he wanted to befriend him as much as possible. Didn't Chen Xingwen want to send out his disciple to make friends with Ning Cheng? Ning Cheng didn't want to stay in Yu Clan's corner at all. He was just about to refuse when he heard Chen Xingwen speak up, "Sect Master Ning, do you know about the chaos in the devil domain?" Seeing Ning Cheng's expression, as if he didn't know about it, Chen Xingwen explained, "Not only is the devil domain in chaos, but even the demon domain, Grand Spirit Heaven Starry Sky and my culmination Grand Starry Sky are also in chaos." Ning Cheng frowned and said, "Even if Chuan Xinlo, Yi Jiufeng and the others didn't come out of the ancient Shadow Temple, it shouldn't have been long, right?" Chen Xingwen understood the implication of Ning Cheng's words. Even if these iconic figures of the Grand Starry Sky disappeared temporarily, it wouldn't cause any chaos. Chen Xingwen, who wanted to win over Ning Cheng, continued to explain, "Someone instigated this matter. Otherwise, even if Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor and the others went into seclusion for 10,000 years, such a thing wouldn't have happened. Nowadays, everyone in the devil domain is in danger, and there are bloody killings everywhere. I'm worried that this kind of thing will spread to my culmination Grand Starry Sky one day. I also came here to invite Brother Yu to Culmination Starland to participate in a Culmination Alliance to discuss what to do in case Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor's absence like what happened in the Devil Domain. I originally planned to go to the mysterious Yellow Celestial River to invite Sect Master Ning, but I didn't expect to meet Sect Master Ning here. Chen Xingwen indeed came here to win over Yu Baihong. Yu Baihong was, after all, an eternal cultivator. However, it was a little different from what he said. He originally planned to help Xiao Yu propose a marriage. He chose two people to propose marriage to, one of which was Yu Baihong's granddaughter, Yu Zi. Yu Clan's corner already had many beauties. Yu Zi might not be as good as Yu Qing, but she was also a famous beauty in Culmination Starland. Letting Xiao Yu and Yu Zi become Dao companions would let Xiao Yu put down his obsession with Yu Qing and draw Yu Clan's corner to his side. The other choice was Shen Mengyan. Shen Mengyan looked 90% similar to Yu Qing. His disciple, Xiao Yu, had a deep obsession with Yu Qing. Only by letting Shen Mengyan marry Xiao Yu could Xiao Yu let go of his obsession with Yu Qing and reach a higher level. Shen Mengyan was Yu Clan's daughter-in-law, but Chen Xingwen believed that Yu Baihong wouldn't refuse. Spiritual Heaven sect was so powerful, yet he came to propose marriage in person. If Yu Baihong refused, it would be tantamount to slapping his face. Yu Baihong, a cultivator who had just advanced to the eternal realm, would never act so stupid. Naturally, to give Yu Baihong a way out, he also brought Xiao Chunan with him. As a last resort, he would let Xiao Chunan marry into Yu Clan to give Yu Baihong some face. Of course, he didn't tell Xiao Chunan about this. Although Xiao Chunan had good qualifications, she still fell short of Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu was the true core disciple he cultivated for Spiritual Heaven sect. For Xiao Yu, Xiao Chunan could naturally be sacrificed. Now that Ning Cheng appeared in Yu Clan's corner, he naturally wouldn't mention the marriage proposal. It would be tantamount to slapping Ning Cheng's face, and he didn't want to become enemies with Ning Cheng. As soon as Chen Xingwen spoke, Ning Cheng understood what was going on. It seems that this sect master of spiritual heaven sect didn't want to be left out. Therefore, after hearing the news of leveled heart Heavenly Emperor's death, he couldn't help but feel excited. Chapter 760. Ning Cheng was aware of Chen Xingwen's thoughts, as such he naturally would not wade into these muddy waters. He had some suspicions that Chuan Xinluo had not fallen. If Chuan Xinluo came back and learned that Chen Xingwen coveted his position, it would definitely be a good show to watch. Sect Master Chen, I already said in front of Chuan Xinluo that my mysterious yellow celestial river is independent from the 4 grand starry skies. Therefore, I have no reason to participate in this matter. Of course, I support Sect Master Chen in my heart. Ning Cheng spoke with a smile. Chen Xingwen gave a dry laugh. In that case, I will not force Sect Master Ning. On behalf of Culmination Grand Starry Sky, I thank Sect Master Ning for your support. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart. You, Chen Xingwen, want to represent the Grand Culmination Starry Sky? Stop dreaming. Ning Cheng naturally wouldn't say this out loud. Instead, he smiled and said, I have a good relationship with Striking Order Heavenly Emperor and Heavenly Emperor Wu Hong of Grand Culmination Starry Sky. If anything happens to Culmination in the future, I hope that Sect Master Chen can help me look after them. Chen Xingwen naturally understood the meaning behind Ning Cheng's words. That is, I don't care if you want to take control of Grand Culmination Starry Sky or not. But I want to warn you, don't get involved in Striking Order Starry Sky and Bright Heaven Starry Sky. Even if Striking Order Heavenly Emperor and Heavenly Emperor Wu Hong did not return, don't even think about taking control of these 2 starry skies. Although Chen Xingwen felt angry in his heart, he didn't show it at all. Instead, he still spoke with enthusiasm. Naturally, Sect Master Ning's friends are also this Chen Xingwen's friends. Sect Master Chen, I want to ask you about something. Do you know where I can buy breaking boundary talismans? Ning Cheng asked before leaving. Chen Xingwen was an old monster just like Chuan Xinluo, who had lived for many years. Ning Cheng was very clear that although his cultivation was not bad, when it came to knowledge and experience, the gap between him and this old monster was not just a starry sky. Hearing that Ning Cheng wanted the breaking boundary talisman, Chen Xingwen shook his head. Sect Master Ning, the value of this talisman can't even be measured in permanent essence pills. As far as I can remember, out of the many auctions held in Culmination Starland, only one had appeared. Moreover, it was a barter. World-breaking spell. Does Sect Master Ning need a breaking boundary talisman? Yu Baihong suddenly asked. Ning Cheng nodded, yes, I do need the breaking boundary talisman. I want to go to the low-level interface, but I don't have enough strength to tear open the void of the low-level interface. Could it be that City Lord Yu has news about the world-breaking talisman? In fact, Ning Cheng himself did not know if he could tear open the void of the planar interface. He had never done such a thing before. He was also afraid that if he tore through an unrelated world, it would be difficult for him to return to this place. This was not what he wanted. He wanted the boundary-breaking talisman because he wanted to return to the graceful star mainland. He had promised the giant who saved his life at the altar of Forefathers' library that he would help him in the future. Since he was going to help, he had to be a good person to the end. At the same time, he would also take the eye that the giant had nailed in the white robe Ghost Lake and give it to the giant. Although the giant was in such a miserable situation, it still helped him escape from the Heart-Blood Lake. This kind of kindness, even if Ning Cheng knew that he would die, he still had to help. If he didn't repay kindness, wouldn't he be worse than a beast? Yu Baihong quickly replied, my Yu clan's corner once obtained a boundary-breaking talisman, but a cultivator named Duan Gantai bought it. Duan Gantai? When Ning Cheng heard this name, he couldn't help but feel disgusted in his heart. Why did this fellow appear everywhere, like a ghost haunting him? Although Yu Baihong didn't explain what was going on, Ning Cheng could guess that Duan Gantai had used some coercive means to force Yu clan's corner to sell the talisman. Many thanks, City Master Yu. Goodbye. Ning Qing finished and cupped his fists towards Chen Xingwen before quickly leaving with Shen Mengyan and the others. After Ning Qing left, Yu Baihong finally breathed out in relief. At least he hadn't completely offended Sect Master Ning. Otherwise, Yu Clan's corner would have truly been in danger. Chen Xingwen didn't seem to know that Ning Qing had just arrived and then left. He laughed and said, "Brother Yu, I came here today for another matter. Xiao Yu is also a disciple I'm proud of. Yu Clan's Yu Zi has a good appearance, so I thought it would be better for the two families to marry." Chen Xingwen hadn't even finished his words when Yu Baihong knew that something bad had happened. Chen Xingwen wanted to marry his granddaughter Yu Zi to Xiao Yu. If Ning Qing hadn't appeared, he would have felt happy about this marriage. But he had already planned to use Yu Zi to marry Ning Qing instead of Yu Qing and establish a good relationship with Ning Qing. Unexpectedly, he hadn't even implemented his plan when Chen Xingwen brought it up. For a moment, Yu Baihong didn't know how to refuse. As soon as Shen Mengyan boarded Ning Cheng's starry sky wheel, she spoke up, "Ning Cheng, although the boundary-breaking talisman can allow you to go to the low-level interface, the low-level interface's laws don't allow powerhouses to enter. Once you go to the low-level interface, it will cause chaos and break the laws. This kind of law-breaking can seriously injure or even kill an eternal expert." I know this. I'll be careful. Regarding this kind of law restriction, even if Shen Mengyan didn't say it, Ning Qing already knew about it. Even if it was a low-level positional plane, the laws of heaven and earth still remained the most powerful. Even an eternal expert wouldn't be able to withstand all kinds of law-breaking attacks. If he wanted to save someone, he would have to reach the late-stage eternal realm to save the giant. Otherwise, he wouldn't be saving someone in advance, but would rather die. Similarly, he would have to wait until he reached the eternal realm before considering going to the graceful star mainland. Ning Qing answered Shen Mengyan's words while opening the sealed connecting spirit silk once again. To his disappointment, after opening the connecting spirit silk, he couldn't find any information about Duan Gantai. This fellow had come to find him when he was trapped under the ancient Shadow Temple. But now that he wanted to find him, he had disappeared. Ning Qing felt sure that Duan Gantai had done something shameful. If he could see it, he wouldn't have sealed the connecting spirit silk. After listening to Ning Cheng's explanation, Sisi, Shen Mengyan and Ai Ku learned that Ning Cheng owned a celestial river and even established the mysterious Yellow Sect. "Aunt Yen, let's go to Stately River Star now. Stately River Star belongs to senior apprentice brother Ning, so it's better than going somewhere else." When Sisi heard that Ning Cheng owned a celestial river and was the sect master of the mysterious Yellow Sect, she immediately wanted to go to Stately River Star. Shen Mengyan remained silent for a moment before speaking. "Sisi, you and Ai Ku will stay with mysterious Yellow Sect's Ning Cheng. After I recover my cultivation, I'll go do my own things. Since Qing is gone, I have nothing to worry about now." Sisi felt a little reluctant to part with Shen Mengyan. She took Shen Mengyan's hand and sobbed, "Aunt Yen, are you going to find Uncle Chen? But the universe is so vast. Where are you going to find him?" Ning Cheng also wanted to persuade them, but the words that came to his mouth did not come out. To be honest, it was all because of Yu Qing that he and Shen Mengyan could be together. Yu Qing was gone, and Shen Mengyan didn't want to stay in Stately River Star. What else could he do? Shen Mengyan turned silent again. This time, after a few minutes, she gave out a sigh and said, "Ning Cheng, although Qing has left, you're not an outsider in my heart. I do want to find Qing's father this time. Qing's father is Yu Yuechen, the first expert of Yu Clan's corner to advance to the eternal realm." Ah! Sisi felt surprised when she heard that the first eternal expert of Yu Clan's corner wasn't Yu Baihong. Shen Mengyan's eyes flashed with a trace of loneliness before she continued, "I'm the only one who knows that he advanced to the eternal realm. However, he didn't stay in Yu Clan's corner and work hard to strengthen Yu Clan's corner. Instead, he went to search for a higher realm. He wanted to confirm his Tao, but within the four grand starry skies, opportunities to confirm one's Tao were hard to come by. He said that as long as he found an opportunity to confirm his Tao, he would immediately come back to pick me and Qing her up. Ning Qing felt a little speechless. Aunt Yen, Cece is right. The starry skies are vast, and it would be extremely difficult to find a person. I think Aunt Yen should stay in Stately River Star for now. When your cultivation reaches a higher level in the future, you can go to the starry skies to look for him. Not to mention that Shen Mengyan wanted to look for Yu Yuechen throughout the vast starry skies. Even if he knew that Ji Luofei was in striking order starry sky, he wouldn't be able to find her. Shen Mengyan hesitated for a moment before speaking. I know that he might have gone to the thousand-mound forest of the mysterious Yellow Starland. Isn't the mysterious Yellow Starland senior apprentice brother Ning's Starland? We can go there. Cece quickly spoke up in surprise when she heard this sentence. Ning Qing had to explain, my place is called the mysterious Yellow Celestial River, not the mysterious Yellow Starland. Only then did he remember that the name he inadvertently came up with had the same name as the mysterious Yellow Starland. Ning Qing didn't intend to change the name of the mysterious Yellow Celestial River. Instead, he explained to Shen Mengyan, Aunt Yen, I've been to the Thousand-Mound Forest once. It's definitely not a good place. I suggest Aunt Yen not to go there. If you must go there, you might as well wait. After I advance to the Eternal Realm, I will go to the Thousand-Mound Forest. Aunt Yen can come with me then. Shen Mengyan and Cece looked at Ning Qing in surprise. They realized that Ning Qing wasn't an eternal cultivator yet. However, Shen Mengyan didn't ask about Ning Qing's cultivation. Instead, she nodded and agreed with Ning Qing's words, okay. When you go to the Thousand-Mound Forest, call me. I'll stay in Stately River Star for the time being. Outside Stately River Star's star protecting Grand Array, there used to be only one ordinary starry sky public square. But now, it had turned into a continuous starry sky public square. Countless rogue cultivators had gathered here. Although they couldn't enter Stately River Star, they could still see the public square outside Stately River Star. Since Stately River Star established its own laws, everyone was equal, and there was no bullying or killing for treasures. Therefore, this place had become a popular place. Rogue cultivators lived a precarious life. So, who wouldn't want to come to such a safe and peaceful place to cultivate? What's more, there were rumors that Stately River Star's celestial lord Ning Qing was a starry sky grade 8 pill emperor. Moreover, Stately River Star's mysterious yellow sex deputy sect master Tsang Tsaiha was the starry sky's premier pill emperor. It was said that Stately River Star had countless times more opportunities to obtain high-grade medicinal pills compared to other places. In Stately River Star, as long as one did business in a fair and honest manner, one could accumulate enough celestial coins to purchase medicinal pills for advancement. Unfortunately, the conditions to enter Stately River Star were just too harsh. Not only did it depend on one's character, but it also depended on whether one had any skills or qualifications. Some of the cultivators who had escaped from Stately River Star in the early days felt extremely regretful at this time. If they hadn't escaped, they would have become the envious cultivators of Stately River Star. As soon as Ning Qing's Starry Sky wheel landed on the Starry Sky public square outside Stately River Star, Bei Junyi rushed over. Since Ning Qing had given him the entrance to Stately River Star, he naturally didn't dare to neglect it. If not for Sect Master Ning, he didn't know how long it would have taken for him to reach the heaven-seated realm. There are so many people here. Cece exclaimed when she saw the crowd on the public square outside Stately River Star. Ning Qing was just about to say hello to Bei Junyi when he suddenly felt something. The connecting spirit silk on his wrist, which hadn't shown any response, suddenly reacted. The next moment, he sensed Duan Gantai's position. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.